everyone, and welcome to episode 111 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this week, we didn't watch anything!
So good.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're going to be discussing Frontier in its entirety, and things that we liked, things that we didn't, our favourite things that happened, our least favourites, a look into the fusion evolutions that didn't make it into the show, and just heads up, the best one is Tomoki's, like it's okay, and reading out answers to our listener opinion questions. And we'll also have a quick look at survey results, the results about the comparing 02 to Frontier, and getting hyped for Savers. And I believe we're also going to have a little bit of a looky at the Ancient Warriors, because that's exciting. So just before we start, just keep in mind that our opinions and thoughts, like, you don't necessarily have to agree with them. I mean, you can if you agree with them.
And you should, because we're definitely correct.
Yeah, but like they're opinions, so if you don't agree with them, that's fine. We're not trying to force our opinions on it, so
You're not.
Just keep that in mind. It's okay to have differing opinions to ours, because we Jay and I will have different opinions about things that happen in Frontier.
That is true.
Yeah. So just to start up,
I'll just like to add,
Yeah?
if you do have a different opinion to ours, we're happy to hear about it. What I would like you to do is reason out point by point, if you can, if you choose to, why you hold that opinion, because that's what we like to do on the show, and that's the best way to compare them together. It is difficult for someone to say, I don't like it for these reasons, and then someone else to say, but I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's what we would appreciate.
Well, that's sort of like when we first started the podcast, I said, okay, Jay, you're allowed to say you don't like something, but you have to actually give a reason why. And you most
And
of the
then
time
you
did.
regretted it.
Yeah, and most of the time you did usually give a reason of, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So just before we get started, I just want to say that we'll be discussing some overall season statistics as well in LostinTranslationmon, as well as just the survey results. So if you are interested in that kind of thing, like overall statistics, you can listen to LostinTranslationmon. But if not, you can skip over it. It is your choice. For LostinTranslationmon, we just some quick updates, and then we'll look at the statistics for the season. So first of all, episode 112, which is our coverage of X Evolution, will be recorded tomorrow, which is Saturday. And that is actually the day that this episode releases in Australia, so a few hours after this episode is uploaded and ready for the public, we will be covering X Evolution.
Wait, isn't X Evolution our next week's episode?
Yeah, but we're doing it because Mitch is away.
But why are we uploading it early?
We're not uploading it early.
Just said our coverage would be up.
No, this episode that we're currently recording is uploaded tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And a few hours after that, we'll be recording our X Evolution episode.
Okay, but it won't be up until the week after.
Well, it'll be up for $10 plus per month Patreon supporters.
Okay,
so they will be getting it super hyper early.
Ooh, special.
But everyone else will be getting up on the normal day, which is Saturday morning Australian time. So because we'll be recording it so quickly after uploading this episode, we will not be recording Postmon Pat or the outro until our usual recording time. Why are you looking at me like that?
Oh, you mean for tomorrow's one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because there'll be no Postmon Pat to discuss.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
I don't think none of that's all behind the scenes stuff. You'll get to know it, even though it doesn't matter.
It matters to me, okay?
Okay.
I just like to give people a heads up.
About nothing.
So, as for episode 113, which is the episode in 2 weeks, which is our first Savers coverage episode, we'll be sending out the preview of our Savers intro soon, when it's edited. And backers that are pledging $10 plus per month will get it actually after this recording, because we will be saying it straight after the outro. We'll be doing the big thing that we're saying.
I know pretty much nothing about Savers because I've been Saversing myself from that information and spoilers.
Yeah, so but you'll find out a little bit today. So just a bit more of updates. There'll be obviously no obnoxious synopsis this episode, and obviously next episode as well, and the episode after. So no obnoxious synopsis for a while. But in this episode, we're doing Postmon Pat first, just so we can jump into all the summary things all together. So just a bit of discussion about the season and the length of each season that we've covered so far. And this is stepping right into the statistics now. I just wanted to mention how many hours we've been discussing Frontier, and I want to compare it with other seasons. But first of all, I asked Jay to rank each season and map it to how many hours we've discussed each season. So you had a ranking of the seasons we've seen so far?
Off the top of my head, it's Tamer's Adventure 02 Frontier.
Yeah. So the amount of hours we've discussed things for sort of replicates that, except for the least amount of time that we've spent talking about a season was Adventure, which we had 28 episodes on, and we recorded 41 hours, 51 minutes, and 38 seconds. I've not recorded, uploaded that much episodes. But it sort of makes sense that that's the smallest because we just started and, there wasn't too much to complain about in Adventure. And I think the more we complained about a season, the more, the longer the episodes were. So...
Boy, were they.
So the second lowest amount of hours that we released into the world was Digimon Tamers with 27 episodes. And we discussed that for 45 hours, 58 minutes, and 59 seconds. Then we had 02, which we discussed for 47 hours, 44 minutes, 55 seconds in 26 episodes. Would you like to have an estimate of how much we spent on Frontier, Jay?
54.
How is that so accurate?
What was it?
Okay, so across 26 episodes, we had a total time of 53 hours, 9 minutes, and 46 seconds.
Oh, it's really close.
That's really close. So obviously that is significantly higher than, that's like an extra 6 hours basically.
Yeah, I basically thought, hey, what was 02? Okay, if I really hated it, we'll talk about it more. Add about 10%.
Yeah, no, that was well done.
If I had 10%, it would have been 53. I would have been right.
No, it was a good guess though. Good guess.
I just wanted to be low 55.
Low 55, always low 55. So I hope that was interesting, and I hope that I didn't just bore people for 3 minutes.
You got me for 3 minutes.
So I know I just thought it'd be a bit interesting just to cover that overall. And now we're going to be moving on to a quick look at the survey results, which I closed up today, and I made a quick little summary post. So we had 31 completed respondents, and that was 5 less than our end of Tamers survey, which isn't that bad. So for one of the first questions was, which is your favourite? And the favourite was episode discussion, which is when we sort of go over the synopsis and changes as they occur, and that was 51%. I won't go through all the results because I made a big post about it, and if you're interested, you can check out that post. I'll just be going over a few points. Least favourite, the most popular result at 24.1%, was that the outro was the least favourite. And then we had a multiple choice question, which was, which sections do you like? The most liked section was overall episode discussion, and this is when we sort of dive super far into the episodes and what we liked about them and any discussion points we have about them.
It's kind of the meat of the show.
Yeah, and this was, so 28 people liked this, which was 90.3%.
Oh, well, fair enough.
As for disliking segments...
That's a strong term.
The highest one was 75.9%, which was none.
Oh, that's a good answer. Thank you, most people.
But, however, 3 people...
The dissidents.
So 10.3% said that Rumble Arena they were disliked.
We didn't even do very many of those.
Yeah, so that's one of the Patreon suggested topic ones.
Fair enough, is what it is.
The next question is, which is the most unique segment? And this one was fairly close. So we had, at 45.2%...
The most unique segment.
The most unique was Obnoxious Synopsis.
How do you surprise someone's synopsis that is obnoxious? Unique up on it.
I'm just going to ignore you now. I'm going to uniquely ignore you. And at 35.5%, we had I Will Show You Digiworld. Which, that makes sense that those are the most unique because they're most unique to Jay being new to Digimon, which is one of the things about this show.
It's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
Well, our thing is watching a bad show, and you've made me watch the bad show, so it's what's it? Bad show, Leomon.
Oh no. Why would you do that to me? The next questions were about length, and 56.7% of respondents said that no segments were too short.
Okay.
So that's good. We don't have any too short segments.
Great.
The next highest at 20% was Obnoxious Synopsis. People think Obnoxious Synopsis is too short.
Huh, okay.
And then...
I mean, there's not really much to say about Frontier. We'll see what happens next season.
Then 13.3% said Postmon Pat was too short.
I mean, we shorten those down, but
yeah.
We record for like 2 hours, and then it's like, oh, by the way, you finish the episode discussion, and you go, oh, we did it. Oh, God, there's a whole other segment to do.
Well, remember, we used to put Postmon Pat at the start, so we were already buggered by the time we got into the actual episodes.
Yeah, we should do that again so we can talk about the episodes less.
Huh. The next question was, which segments are too long? And 73.3% said none.
Yay!
That's good.
Thanks, most people.
And then we had a tie for the second place. Taichi Yagami? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm funny. It's a joke.
Was it?
Yeah, it was maybe.
Explain it in detail why it's funny.
No. So we had a tie between Postmon Pat and the outro, which both got 3 votes each for being too long.
The outro is an interesting one. I mean, it's not. You can just turn the show off at that point.
And so it's interesting that Postmon Pat are in both too short and too long.
Some people want their letters read, and other people don't care what other people have to say. They only want to hear our fantastic opinions.
Oh, 100%. And as for which segments are just right, we had a 3-way tie, and that was...
The first option is all of them. The second one is all, and the third one is most.
Well, at 86.2%, DigiNews, episode discussion, and episode opinions are just right.
Good.
Which is good. It's good that we hit good amounts. And then the next question, which was, what's the ideal length of the entire show? 38.7% of respondents think the podcast is perfect at 2 hours, and the exact same amount say that it's perfect at around 1 hour and a half.
All right, hour and 45 minutes. Here we come.
Which I always...
Making no one happy.
For when I'm listening to a podcast and also producing a podcast, I always feel like an hour and a half is the best time, but lately we have not been hitting that. And then 16.1% of the respondents want more than 2 hours. So I guess they've been enjoying the last few episodes, which have been between 2 and 3 hours long.
I've been with the Best Friend cast, listening to that one since it started, and hearing it creep up from half an hour to legit almost 4 hours sometimes.
Oof, that's rough. Then on to how do people communicate with the podcast. We had a staggering, if I can use that word because it's a big percentage, out of the other options, 56.7%, which was...
That's not staggering.
Staggering
That's
comparison.
a bare pass.
Well, the next one was 23%, so comparatively it looks staggering, okay? It's double.
That's not what staggering means.
Okay, I just wanted to use the word staggering in this, okay?
Staggering means that it is so crazy you are shocked and can no longer walk straight.
So, basically, Twitter is the most popular way of communicating with us, according to the people who participate in the survey. The next question was, on what platform do you listen to the podcast? And the most popular platforms for listening to the podcast seems to be SoundCloud or iTunes.
You know the most popular thing for communicating with us is the Slack, right? Because they talk to us directly all the time.
Well, Slack had...
No, I don't care what the votes
Yeah.
say. I'm saying you don't
had
need people
5.
to vote on that. That's an objective thing. You can go out and look at it.
It had 5 people
You
out of
can
31.
just look at it.
Yeah, no, well, we do have a lot of people on Slack. Our Slack is rather busy.
Oh boy. Constantly getting mentioned, constantly ignoring it.
Oh, it's mostly me mentioning
I'm
you.
kidding.
I'm like, how do I get Jay? Oh yeah, he gets email notifications.
Sometimes I talk to people and they're all like, "It's Jay," and I'm like, "Oh, I feel special here. It's really
At
nice."
least you do somewhere.
I'm gonna pretend I'm all cool though.
Yeah, you're very
They're
cool.
definitely not gonna find out how much I'm like, they want to talk to me.
Oh, that's really cute. The next question was, how long have you listened to LostinTranslationmon? And 29% have been listening to the podcast for around 2 years. 25.8% say they've been listening to it for 1 year to 1 year and a half.
You should have put in a trick answer that said 4 years. See how
I
many
could have
people
done that.
selected it.
That would be funny. Maybe next time. Wait, no, next time we'll be at almost 3 years.
Oh, so it'll
So yeah,
still
we can be in
apply.
the 4 years. 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah,
We've been in the
exactly.
podcast for 10 years. We're so old.
100 years lost in translation, man.
Yeah.
Six seasons in a movie.
And then what I found interesting was that only 6.5% of the respondents have been listening to it since it began.
Okay.
I believe in previous surveys that has been a high percentage. So it just depends on the sample of people who answered the survey. The next bit of the survey, it is a very long survey. I put a lot of time
You
into
don't
this.
have to read all the results online.
I'm not even reading all the results.
You can just pick some that are interesting.
Okay, so which of the side podcasts you listen to? And the most popular one, according to this sample, was LostinTranslationmon.
Lost in who?
Mangalationmon. It's our manga. The manga.
Is that what it's called?
Mangalationmon, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I couldn't come up with a better name, okay?
That's a crap name.
And the least listened to out of the sample that we had in our respondent pool was Serial Episodes Lane.
I'm not shocked by that at all.
Then if we look at the favourite side podcast,
But that said, the people
Yeah.
who listen to Lane are not the listeners of our show.
so they might not have known about the survey.
Exactly.
So the most selected favourite side podcast was LostinAppalachianmon, which had 41.9% of the votes.
Because everyone who likes our show likes Digimon, and they'll like Appmon.
Yeah. And then the Try Movie reviews have 32.3%, and Lost in Mangalationmon has 22.6%.
They all have something in common. They're all Digimon related.
Yeah, it's almost like people listen to this Digimon podcast for Digimon.
Yeah.
And the
I
least
thought they were here for me.
And the least favourite is the Try PV Hypecasts, which is fine because we haven't done one for a while and
My
Jay hates
least
them.
favorite too.
Yeah. And the second least
Garbo.
favourite is our Lane side podcast.
Fair enough. We are taking a controversial stance on Lane.
And then I asked for basically a 5-star rating for each of our side podcasts, and of course, you can guess that the most highly rated ones are the manga specials, and we had a lot of comments where people were saying, yeah, continue doing the manga ones, I really like them, they're really good, it's nice to see Jay happy.
Yeah, I like being happy.
So people really like the manga ones. And then there was a question about our audio and how our audio quality has improved since we now have a mixer and we use 2 microphones. So 74.2% gave us 5 stars, 19.4% gave us 4 stars, and 6.5% gave us 3 stars.
I think those people might just have hearing problems.
That's very nice.
What's not nice about it? It's an objective fact. If someone doesn't have hearing problems, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It means their ears don't work.
We did get a few comments that were the outro and intro music is too loud now in comparison. Like or maybe our audio now is too soft because I don't amp it up as much. But
I don't have anything to do with that part.
Yeah, so
that ain't all me.
Yeah, so the negative parts of the audio are my fault, so it's fine, and that means it's fixable. And when I made the intro and I made the outro, it was back before we had a better thing, so it was very loud because I was amping it up a lot. And now I'm not amping it up as much because, for one thing, it doesn't sound as good if I amp it up more, but I don't need to amp it up as much.
Well, then chill it out.
So
you already knew the answer.
Yeah. And then I just want to say some quick interesting comments we had before we move on. I know this is very interesting. Someone said that we should design TranslationMon. And I was like, yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Well, it would be the Duolingo bird.
Yeah, well, we should try to commission someone because this respondent actually suggested then TranslationMon can go with us when we're Lost in Translation Moon and Lost in Translation Ball, and he can evolve with us.
Oh, that'd be super cute actually. We need to talk to some of our artist friends, which I'm really delighted to say we have.
Yeah, and they're growing. Like we have so many people in the Slack who are just amazing artists. I'm like, yes, we will organize that. I would like to. I would really like a translation.
We should have a competition who can design TranslationMon.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We will officially announce something later.
Yeah, and that'd be cool. Maybe we can give them Redbubble stuff for free or something.
Yeah, we will associate prizes with it, and then also it will be a thing that we can use.
Yeah,
and it'll be on the show forever.
No, that'd be pretty cool. I'd like a little mascot because I think I thought about the idea when we first started, but never really came around. We were just like, we'll just use Lotmon and Edramon as our mascots.
You know the problem?
Yeah.
It would have to be an appmon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be an iPhone app for translation.
Yeah. They just do it the Duolingo bird.
If Gatchmon is Google, this is Google Translate.
No, okay. How about we combine Duolingo and Memrise?
I don't know what that is.
Memrise is like a rocket.
No.
So it's like a rocket bird.
It's a blue Gatchmon because it's Google, but it's Google Translate.
Okay, yeah, we'll think about something. But I just think that was a really good idea. I'm like, yeah, we should have a little guy that travels around with us through our adventures. He wears a little backpack and he goes through different universes into becomes a Sailor Scout. Then he becomes a Saiyan and he's got stupid big blonde hair going everywhere.
And he's wearing the orange fight suit.
Yeah.
Oh, or Saiyan armor.
And then he's dressed up in one of Cardcaptor Sakura's really cool outfits.
This is really cute, and
I'm marking out for this idea. That's adorable. we need to do this now. And he travels with us. That's so cute. We'll have a little friend. And then we could commission someone who does plushies to make a plushie of him.
That'd be the end of it. We'd be dead.
That's so cute. It's so cute. Okay. The next question, comment that I found interesting was saying, I'm really sorry that you guys hated Frontier so much.
Oh boy, did we.
All the analysis of Frontier's shortcomings were spot on, but for whatever reason, I always found Frontier more fun to watch than Tamers. Colourful worlds are fun, but a better story would definitely help.
Terriermon was in the other one. What more do you need?
Lotmon was in this one.
For what, 2 seconds? Whoop!
The next comment says, it's a great podcast that shows why Digimon is both awesome and not awesome at the same time, without making it boring. And then another comment says, I usually enjoy the last episode of the season discussion, as it brings up what could have been improved topics, which would be a lot in Frontier. All plots, characters, and evolutions are ready to be evaluated, and I enjoy hearing both of your opinions. So I guess I hope you like this episode then.
Well, I would definitely hope so.
And then we had some opinions about their favourite parts, and everybody basically still said that their BlackWarGreymon was their favourite part. We had a lot of people said, yeah, just the BlackWarGreymon rant. That's for everyone's favourite.
It's legit, I guess. I tried to be angry, and you kept trying to calm me down with the Lucimon thing. I'm like, why are you doing this? It's money when I get angry.
Yeah. The train made me angry, though.
I know.
Yep.
You didn't sell it.
And the last comment that I found interesting was, my favourite is still when May went over the story of the WonderSwan games. I'm told the games are awful, but I loved hearing about Ken and Ryo's adventures. I still like Ryo. So I'm really glad that people actually like that, because I don't know.
I was asleep most of it.
I feel like no one really talks about it that much, and we don't. Like, it doesn't have that many listens on the episode. So, for the most popular weekly poll, now we're done with the survey, is who should lose their spirit and be powerless instead of Izumi. So this had 58 votes, with the winner being Takuya at 20 votes, which, interesting enough, 20 votes seemed to be the amount of votes we got for every other weekly poll. The least popular weekly poll was, should Gotsumon have teamed up and stayed with the chosen children? And
it's like an obvious, of course he should have. It would have been interesting, and the show was boring.
Yeah, and this only got 10 votes.
I just love the number of people who said, like, everything you've said is correct about why the season is bad, but I still like it.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, they're allowed to like it. Like,
no, there's nothing wrong.
I liked it. Look, I know that we ripped it to shreds, but I like Frontier, and
I think that's so weird. I think that once something objectively can be shown to you, this is why it's bad, and of course there's always responses, well, these are the reasons I like it. But if that's not accompanied by that, I find that really difficult.
Yes, but you have to understand that we are not watching Frontier the way it's meant to be watched. It's meant to be
brainless
watched in one language as an 8-year-old.
Okay, let's be honest, the language had nothing to do with it.
You know, but we're watching it in 2 languages, which means we get to watch it twice.
Yeah, no, of course I like it less as a result of that. And yeah, it's true, I'm not 8.
Yeah, and you're not meant to be analysing the show. The writers of Frontier did not create it to be analysed by 24-year-olds from Australia.
We have been over this enough times that kids' shows can and should be better. In fact, modern kids' shows, quote-unquote kids' shows, should tell you how that is just the lazy excuse to make a bad thing.
Yes, and I understand that, but I'm just saying that back then it was sort of different. Like, everything was kind of a bit garbo back then.
That's not true. Things were often not great, but there's lots of good stuff too.
But what I'm saying is that we are not the target audience of this.
Ren and Stimpy was brilliant.
Yeah, but we are not the target audience. They didn't write it to be analysed. They didn't write it for people to put any large amount of thought into it.
Look, the only reason they wrote it at all is so they could have beers after work. They didn't write it for anyone. They wrote it for themselves to have work. There's no love that went into this show, as far as I can tell. It wasn't for anybody. It wouldn't be so lazy and stupid otherwise.
There are signs of love if you do look. Like, there's a beautiful world building that we have. The mountains with the Shelnumon. Just little bits of the world that we just find out quite early on. We have the kindergarten. We have the flame terminal. We have that forest. We have the forest terminal.
They're not world building if they're just introducing settings for today's episode. World building is how all those things are connected and make the world feel like it is real. The only thing that ever made the flame terminal feel quote-unquote real is that they went back to it a second time. That's not what world building is.
Well,
here's a better question for you. What were the train tracks? They never explained why they were indestructible when you got rid of the world. Where was the terminal the kids came from? Because if you drive out of there on a train, you end up in the digital world. But the only way to get there, apparently, is for Lucimon to crash through the roof of space. There wasn't a world building. There were world snapshots.
There were world huts.
No,
not buildings, get it?
No, but there were photos that you liked. But you didn't realize that on the periphery of those photos was just nothing. There's a void there. There's no interaction with anything in this world. It's a lot of interesting sights and smells, but there's nothing there.
Right.
That's my take on this world anyway. And I feel like I can back that up easily enough because of how completely inconsistent it is, and all of the writing is. So yeah, I don't think there is a target audience. I think this was the laziest Digimon series we've seen.
That's fine.
Because I think it was crafted without love, which is a sad thing to say, but I feel like there's enough evidence there for that to be the case. Like, where'd that beanstalk come from?
What I remember about Savers is that Savers is crafted with a lot of love for memory, I think. I might be wrong, but for memory, it just seemed very lovingly. Like, it seems loving towards Digimon.
Well, at the moment you introduce the idea of someone punching a Digimon with their fist, you already tell yourself, okay, something unique is happening here. Someone had an idea.
That's all you know about Savers, is he punches people. Punches Digimon.
Frontier appears on its surface to have an idea, right? Oh, the kids have become the Digimon. But that's not a new idea. Frontier did that. Not Frontier, Tamers did that. And they just took away the partners to necessitate them being less creative. Everything about Frontier was really lazy, from my perspective.
And we're not even into the Frontier discussion parts yet.
We'll talk about this later then, but I'm just going to say it again.
So next I just want to say a bit which episode had the most amount of listens. So episode 85, which was covering the first 2 episodes of Frontier, had 657 listens.
Okay.
And the second most was 589, which was episode 92, which covered episodes 15 and 16, which were the beach episodes with Calmaramon and Zephyrmon.
That's random. I can totally see why people go, okay, new season, let's go. And then some people said, it's Frontier, I don't care. Or, they don't like the thing I like. Okay, cool. Why do people come back for that episode?
Or maybe they were just bots. It is possible. We get a lot of bot listens.
Don't tell me that. I feel good.
But the episode that has the most amount of listens is episode 11, which has, I want to say, 1,500 listens. And like 1,000 over 1,000 of them are bots.
We're exposing the business here, okay?
Yeah, we don't get that many listens.
We're exposing the business.
So as for how many hours we covered Digimon for again, our longest Frontier coverage episode was episode 109, which is 1 moon, 2 moon, yellow moon, no moons.
Well, that's because we hated that episode.
Yeah, so that was episode 47 and 48, so episode 109 was 3 hours, 1 minute and 51 seconds long.
Okay. We're really just saying statistics.
Yes.
Can we move on to something that is constructive?
Last one. The shortest Frontier coverage episode was episode 85, Spirit Tracks, which covered episode 1 and 2. And this episode was 1 hour, 28 minutes and 31 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. We're done with the boring statistics now.
Why did you introduce them if you're going to describe them as boring?
Because I like them.
We're making it... You already saw them!
So, moving along to Postmon Pat, since I just read out statistics for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it felt like an hour.
Boy, did it.
I want to leave my voice for the rest of the episode, so Jay will be reading our Postmon Pat and weekly poll. But first up, so the weekly poll was, how should Frontier have ended? And Jay will read the comments and then the rest of Postmon Pat because I did too many statistics.
The first one's from Ryuchi, who says that the kids evolving to the ancient warriors wouldn't have made it a perfect ending, but it would have helped. And we got one from Misc, who says, they like the ending we got for what it was, but if it were them, they would have done one of two things. They would have either had the kids return to the digital world and help rebuild it while pulling a 0-2 and allowing them to travel between both worlds at will, now via sort of a trailmon, or they would have had a time skip and had the kids meet up and talk to each other about how their lives changed since getting back home. They would have cut out those scenes where they discuss what they want to do now that they're home, so that not to be repetitive.
Well, no, I really like the first idea that my Misc comes up with, which was, I believe we briefly discussed in the last episode, but the kids are able to come back, but sort of come back to help rebuild and help make the digital world great again.
Ooh, the wormhole is closing, except that they could have gone back and forth all the time.
No, I mean, but if they change that,
I know.
that bit.
I'm just saying it would have been consistent, actually.
And what were the results?
The results were, the first one was the kids' ancient spirit evolving to each other, to each be their respective ancient warrior, instead of just Susanomon again. That was 7 votes. Then second was Koichi actually dying and not being revived by the power of love and friendship. They're not mutually exclusive, are they? They can be both.
Yeah.
We had 2 being other, as in, I want it to be something different from what it was, but none of these ideas.
Yeah, well, we had, the option was please comment, and my Misc commented, which was good.
And then we have 2, which is, we have 2 tied, which was Pokemon following and causing the destruction of the real world with 1 vote, and then nothing, it was perfect with 1 vote, and then 0. Nobody voted kids stay in the digital world.
Yeah.
So we got a message on Gmail, it was from Ryuchi, who gets their second comment of the show in. They say, do you think that Adventures Taichi has goggles for the same reason? And suggesting maybe they're the same person.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's the answer is I hope so. There's no suggestion that it is otherwise. He never even mentions the grandfather, so it could have been.
I wish it was mentioned in Adventure why he had the goggles, because otherwise he's just a nerd with some goggles.
Yeah, and I really think it fixes the question of why do all these nerds have them. They say they never liked Susanomon. They always liked how personal the Digimon partner spirit relationship was, and found that sort of ruined it. They also thought that the kids would become the ancient spirits, which I did too at some stage.
That would have been like that. That's what little 14-year-old me wanted. This is what 24-year-old me wanted.
They say that Izumi has a damaging character since her social problems are magically fixed and basically made friends by being pretty. It's not a problem when characters are girly and still awesome, but Zoe didn't get that far. And also, at the end of Frontier, when the spirits appeared, they also saw them as shades. They used to be actual Digimon, but after they died, they kind of faded away as time went by. By the time the kids came around, they were little more than ideas, their armor and not much else. And though they came out a little more later, they were by then so attached to the kids, their existence was so dependent on the kids that they were kind of a blend of the original spirits and the kids, if that makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me, right, is that if the beast spirit is an aspect of the human spirit, right?
No, the human and the beast are both aspects of the legendary warrior they're based off.
Okay, in that case, it's a Goonimon that hangs out behind Takuya, right?
Yes.
Why would it not be the one that's a combination of the human and beast spirit?
Okay, it should have been Eldermon, yes.
Yeah, and wouldn't they all should have had their combination behind them because that was their joint spirit.
Well, they designed them. Like, the creators of Digimon did actually design their fusions, and we will get to that. We will get to that.
They also go on to say that they really didn't like Data Squad and had a hard time finishing it. Oh, well, that doesn't look forward to it. And they'll end up rewatching it in Japanese with the show. The dub's character speech patterns are annoying. I guess I'll get there. And also, they're asking you if you'll rewatch Frontier for pleasure again, or has it been tainted?
Of course I'll watch it again. Like, I love Digimon. I mean, I won't watch it again immediately.
I'm not watching it with you.
Yeah, I mean...
And if it's on and I walk into a room, you're turning it off.
Well, no, you'll just run screaming out of a window.
And I'll break the TV, and then you'll have to buy a new one.
See, obviously, I'm not going to watch it in 2 languages again. I'm just going to sit... When it comes out in DVD, which it is coming out in DVD in a couple of months in Australia...
I'm going to snap those DVDs.
I'm going to sit... No, you're not. It costs me money. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch them. But I'm not going to watch them with an analytical mind. I'm going to watch it, like, just brainless, and it's going to be great. And
I hope it's ruined for you.
I
hope you sit down and you go, oh, it's still bad.
Fine, I'll live tweet it then, and it'll be great.
I hope.
And I'm pretty sure that when I'm not thinking about everything that's happening and not trying to be critical and not paying attention to every single bit that is happening on the TV, I will enjoy it.
You will remember this.
No.
You won't be able to, you won't forget. You won't forget the moment.
Look, I'm confident that...
Do you think the moon will explode and you'll be like, that was awesome?
I'll remember this, obviously.
Oh, it's fine, they didn't die.
But there are bits that I like in
Someone just hit them with an attack and then they bounced off the planet.
So yes, I will watch it again.
You got one from With the Will? From
Will,
comma, with the... from Clank, who says the podcast was a little bit too harsh on Frontier, and that Frontier was the first season they watched. Look, if you want to... I feel like I've backed up all my points, but if that's the perspective, then that is okay. People are allowed to like things, and I'm allowed to disagree, sometimes robustly. They made a ranking for the Frontier top 3. Number 3 being the New Warriors of Darkness, Loemon and Kaiser Leomon. Number 2 being This is the Digital World, Escape from the Moon.
So good.
And number 1, My Home, Takuya's Lonely Return. And their bottom 3 is Fight Together, Gotsumon and Koji's Vow. 49, The Data of Operation, Defend Akiba Market. And 50, Sleep in Darkness, The Trailmon Graveyard. We got one from Shadow Shinji, who says that Savers does do a better job of writing female characters because there are other characters between Yoshino. Besides Yoshino?
Yeah.
Yoshino on her own is bland. As a girlfriend, Izumi could tell you about Italian cuisine and her experiences or something about feminism or beauty. Yoshino has no personality at all. Oh, it was a comparison. I just thought it was a weird dating profile for Zoe.
See, I
These
don't...
are the things she could do for you.
I maybe I missed it, but I'm not sure Izumi ever mentioned anything about being a feminist or wanting equal rights at all.
I didn't catch most
but
of it.
I might have missed that.
She definitely argued about who was prettier with Ranamo.
Well, I guess there was a point of how it wasn't just being beautiful that mattered. It was all about being a kind person, and that was an okay episode. The Ranamon's Defeat episode was an okay episode. I enjoyed that.
I miss Yoli because she was a programmer. She had a hobby.
Like the time in Insect House.
Yeah.
That episode I thought I hated when I watched it as a kid, but then when I watched it as an adult, I was like, oh no, that is a really good... No, the still best episode of 02 is still when they're with the shadows in the room. Best part of 02.
I don't remember.
When Taichi's all like, yeah, we have to tell them we're going to kill these Digimon. And Courage's like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Best scene in 02.
which had none of the new 02 kids in it. We got one from Jay Yukio who says that one good thing about Frontier is the fact that Koichi lives. And they said the scene is well set up. And I mean, you heard last episode. I don't agree with you, but that's fine. They also go on to say that none of the alternative suggestions for the ending aren't that good. None of them are good. I'm not sure what this is.
None of them are good, yeah.
Okay, the summary here didn't help me. Having a child die is mean-spirited and unnecessary. Having them abandon their families is bleak. It is sad and it's dark, but it would be unique and interesting. And I'm not saying that he had to die, but I think that the tears of friendship bringing him back to life isn't interesting. I think that there are lots of ways it could have been done well, but I think that the way they did it was lazy, which was he fell down the stairs and he hurt himself, and then they bust a bunch of kids into the hospital and cry on his face, and that's what fixes him. Not the doctors or anything, but someone crying on his face and then magic.
I know, it seemed too Hollywood for me. Like, it seemed too much, the happy ending of curing it with love. I wish they would have tried better.
I've never had a problem with the Hollywood ending of it's going to end well, right? I've never had that problem. Although, of course, the reason I say that I wanted him to legit die was to buck that and have something unique. But I've never had a problem with it as long as it's done well. Like if the the love interests are kissing at the end and you're like, I don't understand why they're together. She's just doing it now because it's the end of the movie. Like that sucks. And I feel that's what I felt about this.
Like an End of Tomorrow, the maddest I've ever been in a good movie.
That's different, right? Because
Edge of Tomorrow.
If you were watching that with your brain turned off, and I wasn't, neither were you. If you're watching that with your brain turned off and you watched the guy's side of it the whole time, you're like, oh, I get it, a romance happened. But then you have to think about it and you go, wait, it didn't happen for her.
That was literally the worst scene in one of the best movies I've ever seen.
But I think it's like...
I really like that movie.
I feel like it's the end of
great.
Thunderball or something. I don't know, it's one of the James Bond movies. And there's no romance whatsoever between James and this one character. And then they're on a boat at the end of it and they just make out for no reason.
That might have been The Spy Who Loved Me, maybe.
I think it was. And just I remember it being really random, really out there. And that's what this one felt like. They didn't earn this character still being alive. In fact, they went over the top with him being dead. You know what would have been interesting is if he didn't die in the digital world and they had to do something to get his body back, or there could have been more to it. How did his spirit get from his body to the digital world and then from the digital world back to his body? They don't explain any of this stuff. And if they bothered, it wouldn't have been so bad. Further on, they go to say that Tomoki being compassionate to his bullies is a cool message because bullies are people too. They're often terrible people who don't necessarily deserve
I still
their victims being kind to them.
Really like that. Like, I don't really like it at all. I hate it. It's just because I really like Tomoki, but the fact that he's friends with his bullies now, we never found out if the bullies are still bullies. Basically, you're teaching a kid to not be bullied and to be strong, rather than teaching the bullies not to bully. Like, we don't know if the bullies are still bullying. We don't know that they could just have been picking on whoever was weak, and that's appeared to be what was happening.
It's true, and also, I was bullied in school a good deal.
Yeah.
And the response to a bully is not... because when the show tells you stand up to a bully, they don't... It's not enough to do what Tommy did and say, I'm confident now that I'm great. They don't respond to that. You get punched in the face.
Yeah, it's not... The thing is, it's not realistic. Then, yes, bullies are people too, but show that they're people, because we just saw Teppei strangle him, and then he's magically best friends now. What I would have liked Tomoki to happen, and I have mentioned this in my notes for later on, but I may as well say it now because it's relevant, is that remember how Tomoki has this flashback about how he was cowardly once because he saw a kid being picked on by his bullies? Why can't we have him hanging out with his new best friend who was also bullied and helping him not be bullied? And, being this kid who's just he's short and he's small, but he's really brave and he sticks up for people who are being bullied, and, he's a hero now, and that's what he always wanted to be. At the start of the season, he was always saying, I want to be a hero, I want to be like Takuya. So
the term bullies are people too is to me, an appeal to the idea that, life is not black and white. It's grey, and, they're not evil people. They could be complicated, there could be circumstances in their life, and that's all true, and you could have put that in a show. But that's not what the show did. The show flipped them and goes, oh, they're evil, they're bullies, it's black. Oh, no, they're good now, it's white now. Black and white. You're either one or the other. They can still be horrible people, and the show just never addresses it.
But the thing is, in the episode, when I forgot her name. The girl she's
Sure.
talking about how Teppei and Katsuharu.
Sora.
Yeah,
Yoli?
Yoli's voice.
Yeah, okay.
She's saying how in the original how they've got nothing to go to when they go back home, so that's why they like it here. In the dub, it's just changed to, she says, "Oh yeah, we don't want to do homework," basically. But in the original, it's just that they have nothing to look forward to when they go back home, so they're staying here, and we're just sort of here too. But they wish they expanded on that. Like, maybe they have a terrible home life.
It could
Maybe
be.
that's why. And then maybe there's a moment where Tomoki confronts the bully, and the bully basically just says, "Hey, I've got this terrible home life. My father and mother are just abusive to me. My older sibling beats me up all the time. And when I see you, I want to be stronger because you are smaller than me, but that is wrong." And then he learns that that's a wrong path to take. And then we actually get a legitimate friendship between Tomoki and his bullies, because they've come out and said, "Yeah, we're bullied too, but we just want to feel strong, but you're small, but that doesn't justify it."
It's almost like they should have stuck around and got those spirits and had like character arcs. Because at the end of the day, I guess they say they're not going to do it anymore, or like they sort of apologize to him.
Katsuharu does. Katsuharu
Yeah.
says sorry. Teppei doesn't. Teppei strangled Tomoki in that episode.
All right.
It's
a very complicated subject.
I wish they either didn't do it, or if they did do the whole bullies are people too, let's be friends with the bullies, don't make it so much the problem is you being weak, not the bullies. Like, it's like when you teach women to say, okay, women, you have to be strong. You have to, when you don't go out at night, you don't go out at night.
Yeah.
And you have to.
It's your fault.
And you have to watch what you wear, because men are going to attack you. You should watch out. And you know what? If you get attacked, it's your own fault. You shouldn't have been out at night. You shouldn't have been wearing that dress. It's all your fault.
Yeah, it sort of positions it.
Yeah, it's not teaching the man to say, hey, maybe don't attack women at night.
Yeah, I guess in the context of this theme in Digimon, it really says, you know what, it was basically Tommy's fault he was getting bullied, right?
Yeah.
He just had to act differently.
But that's what Frontier is telling us. Frontier is telling us, oh yeah, Tommy's bullied because he's small and he cries a lot and he's an easy target. And yeah, it's good to stand up for yourself. That is good. But it's framed in a way that is the bad thing, not the bullies being terrible.
Yeah, in the same way that Zoe's portrayed as being a loner, and it has nothing to do with her anxiety about that and accepting herself. It's, no, you have a problem, make friends.
But the thing is, Koji, who we established very early on, is fine being by himself. That was never a problem.
Yeah, because his problem is he doesn't have a brother. That's his problem.
Yeah.
No one has two problems. Everyone has one.
Yeah. No, they can't be
Takuya doesn't have any
complex.
because he's the main character.
Yeah, Takuya's thing was basically like, man, I really would have liked to have some cake.
His only kind of problem is that some people thought he was a bit annoying in like episode 12, and then they forgot about it. We got one from Chakmon, who says that the ending was meh, but all seasons have meh endings. And they also say that the ending seemed too fast, and the kids going back through the portal happened way too quickly.
It did seem rushed.
Yeah, absolutely. And given all the Schrodinger's filler, it didn't have to be. They say that Takuya's breakdown at the start of episode 50 was weird and out of place. Further, Koichi living can be fine because they can be brothers now, and it was the last miracle. The spirits becoming the ancient warriors does seem to be suggested by the show, but it was never built up. Honestly, I think it was built up every time they talk about the prophecy, and the fact that it didn't happen is so odd. Because the prophecy now, right? I know the kids are there and everyone's sort of aware of them, but the prophecy, if you were like drawing that final battle, would not be the 10 legendary warriors. It'd be the one legendary warrior.
Yeah.
And they said the overall concept for Frontier is good and has a good story, but they hate the Royal Knights. And Frontier is best enjoyed alone, with the window shades pulled down and the lights off, and they consider it a guilty pleasure.
I would agree with that. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, I pointed out problems, but I enjoyed it. And also, Jay just skipped over someone's comment on With the Will, so I'll read it out. So, I got you, fam. WildWing64 says that people are unfairly too critical with Frontier, and says that it's an enjoyable show overall. WildWing64 says that it showed more promise in the early episodes, but the later half is where it falls apart, because you could really skip episodes and not miss anything.
Schrodinger's filler.
WildWing64 then says the biggest fault is doing away with Digimon partners, because a lot of developments come from those relationships.
I think absolutely.
But I feel like they could have. I feel like they could have done fine because they had Pokemon and Namon. We could have had relationships with Digimon, and that's why I said like find tag along Digimon, like keep Gotsumon with you, make friends, but we have relationships and they challenge the person. But these Digimon aren't genetically forced to loving you.
Well, it doesn't even need to be that, right? Because there are lots of movies where there are no Digimon. In fact, most movies that exist, I think you'll find, don't have Digimon in them. And character development totally works there. And there are lots of television shows without Digimon in them. I know that's a surprise, but some television shows don't have Digimon.
Look, I think Flying High was the best movie I've ever seen in my life. I feel like it would have been improved if Vmon was there.
I for a second, I thought you were talking about Sky High.
No, Sky High is also one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, but I feel like it would have been better if one of the heroes was a Digimon.
Sky High had a lot of great character development in it. One of them developed into a hamster.
That was the best, and one kind of glowed a little bit. That's such a good movie.
On Tumblr, we got one from an Anonymon who says that watching some of the earlier episodes with the 02/Tamers era, in the 02/Tamers era, and hearing May talk about how much they think Frontier is good, but underrated season is breaking their heart. It's like watching the blissful calm before a hurricane touches down.
I die so much.
Salts the crops, poisons the waterhole, and kidnaps the village women.
I love this person. I love this Anonymon.
We got one from Yes Yoshi Posts. Oh, Yes Yoshi Posts. Oh, okay. Saying that this is super belated, but welcome to the V-Tamer fan base. The more the merrier. We should check out Analyzing Adventures blog too once we finish the manga for some neat stuff. It's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
This manga's lasting us for years, I think.
It's 8 volumes, 8 or 9 volumes.
A year, sometime.
Less than a year, yeah.
And we got one from IRL Yuya who says that, with Atmon, one, they're a little sad that we didn't remember Mianumon's name because they're their favorite. Two, they've been assuming this whole time that Charismon's mind control power isn't like a direct superpower. It's more that he just talks anyone into doing what he wants, which actually would make sense. His name is Charismon. He's got charisma. He's not mind control.
Oh, man, I didn't even get that. That's great. I just thought it was up to the curry rice.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay. I believed you. And that's why he didn't just mind control Globemon. He was trying, but Globemon stayed anchored to Haru. Because he was talking to him.
And he also did the same thing when he was speaking to when Knight and I think Charismon as well were both speaking to Haru. And Haru was just kind of like, am I on the right side?
I don't remember that.
It was great.
I don't think Haru's ever questioned that.
Yeah, he did. In that episode when they first met the Ultimate Four. Is that it for Postmon Pat?
Yes.
Okay, we're done with Postmon Pat. Now we can go on to summarizing Frontier. So we'll start off talking about characters. My favorite human was Tomoki. I love him.
My favorite human was Koji's dad, because he was the most interesting character in the show.
We still need to know why he lied.
Yeah, I know. He's a complicated character who loves and loses and lies, and he's got drama to him.
Yeah, he's a soap opera, basically.
If I have to give you a legitimate answer, I guess Takuya, but it's because I don't like anybody.
Well, I mean, I like Takuya too, but I feel like that's too easy just giving it to the goggle kid.
What do you mean? I hate Davis.
Okay, good point. I also really like Koichi because I really like Ken, and he reminds me of Ken in the way that he's like this sweet, shy little boy. And he's like soft-spoken and he's quite polite. And I really like that. I think it's cute.
Who?
Koichi.
Oh, I thought you said Ken.
Yeah, no, because he's like Ken.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And the reason I specifically said favourite human was because otherwise I just say Pokemon and Namon if I just said favourite character because they're the best characters. Like, I can't believe I thought you were going to hate them.
I don't know where that came from. They're great.
I thought I hated them. And then
How do you know his name is Lobomon? Go Lobomon!
Yeah, Beowulfmon.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what else would you call him? That was in the dub, though. It was better in the original. We're just like, go Beowulfmon. That was the best.
It's so cute.
That's the best scene in all of Frontier.
Just, that
was would I be wrong in saying that's the best scene in Frontier?
It's the best. It's got the best. Yeah.
Because I had to stop it because I was laughing. What about favorite evolution? Mine's Aldamon. I really, really like Aldamon.
So the question was worded favorite main character evolution. So I got the sense of like the first time, I guess. So I said Sharkmon. The question was worded as favorite main character evolution. So I think in my head it was the first time. It also doesn't help that like none of them were good. So
I like Aldamon.
Which one?
Aldamon looked exactly like BlackWarGreymon. And
was he the one that came out of the temple?
No, yeah, BlackWarGreymon came out of the temple. Aldamon was the double spirit of evolution.
Oh.
It was Agunimon plus BlackWarGreymon, and it looked exactly like
See,
that.
I can't have liked that because the problem with it is that it was built around a scenario where Mercurymon should have already won.
Yes, yeah. It was good. That was a good episode, though. I did like that episode.
I mean, it was okay until you realize... They didn't have to make the timing so bad. But the only reason they did that was to make you feel tension, but it was false tension. It's so frustrating. But yeah, Chuckmon, I guess, because he's cute. And also, I don't know, that he was fighting candles.
Yeah, that was a cute episode.
There was nothing wrong with that episode. So that's what it is. From like the latter half of Frontier onwards, I'm like, everything that's bad because everything's wrong with it. Everything before that, I guess it was fine. It was boring, but it was fine.
You know, that's fair. Like, I actually have quite a few fond memories from the first arc, which was basically just like, let's get our human spirits and explore this land. That was fine.
Really blends in with all the rest of Digimon, though, doesn't it? What with nothing happening.
What about favorite Digimon that appeared?
So I guess I misread this question initially, because obviously my favorite Digimon in the season was Bokumon, but my favorite one that appeared, which generally means that you've either seen before and is coming back or whatever, or what, you know, or what was your favorite Digimon without the context of a character?
Yeah.
Lotmon, obviously.
Yeah, I like Lotmon too, but my answer was actually a tie between Deramon, who's a little bird.
Of course.
I love Deramon every time he shows
And
up.
Bergamon.
And how'd you guess?
Because it's you and you always talk about them.
Look, I like little birds with bow ties, and I like food, so...
Let's be honest, Bergamon is just Toad.
Yes.
It's just,
yes, 100%.
It's Toad recolored. It's so cheap.
Hi, I'm Toad!
Hi, I'm Bergamon!
No, but
Hello!
I love Deramon. I love Bergamon. They make me happy. And that's what the Digimon... Like, something I like about Frontier is that we'll have episodes where Digimon just show up. Mm-hmm. Like, what about that episode where they win the tickets and Azumi's doing an eating competition? Never explained. Never, like, expanded upon, like, oh, by the way, she's, like, a champion eater.
Yeah, they never go back to that. It's such a weird... It's a character trait they introduce and then it's gone because it's a joke. It's not for anything.
Yeah,
but it also had plot implications. They needed the tickets.
Yeah, but that was a really cute little bit. And every bit that had these background character Digimon that we've either seen before and it's sort of referencing previous seasons or that we haven't seen before and they just look weird. It's really nice. And I like that about Frontier. They showed us lots of Digimon and that's what I want in my Digimon. Guess what? I want Digimon in my Digimon.
Gross.
Digimon. What about favorite bad guy?
So, this question can be taken in two ways. A, who was the best bad guy? And I don't know, there's not many good answers for that. Or, who was the most entertaining bad guy?
Who was yours?
Obviously, it's Lucemon Fall Down Mode.
Really?
I mean, he sucks. He's the worst, but he's my favorite.
See, the most entertaining one for me was Arbamon in Petaldragon, because in the original, he just did those life hacks that just were completely nonsensical. Ding dong! Always remember to wash your hands.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think about them generally, but it's kind of tough.
And then when he evolves to Petaldragon and he still does the dumb little advice, so he just stands up and he looks like a meerkat with a flower around his head. It's like if Timon got stuck in a bush. It's really cute. I love Petaldragon.
Yeah.
I think Petaldragon became one of my favorite Digimon somehow.
Weird.
I
just
love
didn't
him.
like them still.
Yeah, I never liked Petaldragon and Arbamon, but now I love them because I guess I like the personality better in the original. As for most effective bad guy, I would have to say Duskmon. Duskmon was scary.
I mean, sort of. He also had the problem of doing a big weird attack that was meant to kill the kids and just displacing them somewhere else, including sending Takuya to the real world.
Yeah, but Duskmon was always very scary and he seemed very dangerous. Like, it was when Takuya was having those little, like, hallucinations of Duskmon coming up and grabbing his leg. That was actually scary.
I'll tell you who the most effective was.
Who?
It was Gigasmon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's the only one who stole the spirits.
He's not only the one who stole the spirits, he was always goal-oriented. There are very few times I can think of with him where he would do something and win and be like, nah, don't feel like it now. Everyone else did.
However, I still like Lord Nightmon. I really wish that his doubting of Lucemon was really expanded upon.
And not pointless.
Yeah, because that episode, like, he starts to doubt things. I'm just like, does he, like, turn on Lucemon and fight him? No, he doesn't. Never mind,
Why
he
did
dies.
everyone say that Lord Nightmare was so offensive?
I don't know, actually.
And it's even weirder because most people saw this show in English that we listen to our show, probably.
Some people watched
I said
the
most.
original, yeah.
What, 70%?
Well, people said that he was offensive in the original version because he was a gay stereotype, which I would not agree.
Not at all.
He's just that, and I explained it many times.
He's
so I
just
won't
a
go.
dude in pink armor.
He is that different type of masculinity, which is he has a rose.
Like
and
Dudley.
he's handsome. He is Bishonen.
Dudley's not bitchy, though.
Yeah, but Lord Nightmon is Bishonen, and he's pink because it's a pun on his name. But
Is it?
yeah, Roald or Knight, it means like pink instead of Lord Knight. It's funny.
I was not aware of that. Oh, no,
So someone
right.
told us, yeah, and that is funny. But I mean, I still don't know how he is an offensive gay stereotype. But I could be. I'm not a gay man, so I might be missing that completely. But I thought that he was just that trope, and I've said that a lot. He's just the trope of the guy with the rose who is kind of like beautiful, but is still very masculine. Like that does him being beautiful does not take away from his masculinity.
He's Vega. He's straight up just Vega, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
Like, then there's nothing to... Who cares about what his sexual orientation is? Because
What a
he's
lovely
a Digimon.
rose.
Yeah,
So
and-
it's a Vega
Yeah,
thing.
you're allowed to think things are beautiful and like roses and not be gay.
It's not like they ever hit on the kids or anything, which is what I was really expecting.
Someone said they did, and the closest they got was when Koichi and Koji look at each other, and he just says, beautiful.
Do you think this is like a Berenstain Bears thing, where like people remember something, but it's just not true?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, come on, boys. Like in every other Japanese media where they have a gay stereotype and it's just turned up to 50.
Whatever that like effect is, where you think you came from another universe because you distinctly remember something that wasn't true.
It's the Mandela theory.
That's it, yeah, the Mandela.
But it's most commonly known about the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just because kids look at things and like, well, that's how you say it, so that's how I'm going to say it in my head, and that's how it's going to be spelled.
Also because Steen is a common ending and Stain is not.
Yes.
And it's written in cursive.
Yes. But yeah, I really, really like Lord Nightmon, and while I guess the arc wasn't particularly fantastic, I think that it had a lot of missed potential of Lord Nightmon spending some time doubting Lucimon more and more, and maybe at the end, instead of just doubting him altogether, changes sides, like he starts fighting alongside the kids for just a little bit. But for him to doubt and basically say, okay, I don't trust him anymore, and then immediately die, it just feels like it just takes something away from it.
Fair enough.
Do you have any other favorite bad guys?
No, we covered it.
Okay, so the next thing in Crazy Characters, which is the segment because I like alliteration,
Crazy characters.
is character development. Let's talk about character development.
My favorite character development was how Zoe and Junpei had the same character arc, and they were both terrible. Actually, that's not true. The best thing was the writing of Junpei, like why he carries the chocolate all the time. That was the best.
Was there a reason for him to carry the chocolate? Oh yeah, because he has
bribed
friends. Yeah.
people and
yeah,
tried
that's
to do
right.
magic and stuff, and that was his whole thing.
So I thought you were making a joke about how his jumpsuit was full of chocolate.
That is also funny. But no, like legitimately was the best writing for character development.
Yeah,
in
no,
the show.
that was good. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, he was bribing people. And he also had magic tricks. I forgot about that. So, for me, I kind of like the character development that we got with Takuya, where he was overconfident and went home, and then came back, and then became strategic. But I also want to say that this also makes no sense, because in, I want to say episode like 7, or maybe episode 6, we saw him being strategic, and he was plotting out how to attack and
The power plant.
the factory and rescue the Kakuamon.
Also,
And he was being
like-
strategic and thoughtful, and he wasn't being impulsive. And then 20 episodes later, they've turned him into an impulsive character.
My favorite part of this is that his version of being quote unquote strategic is that he controlled the weather for an episode. That was his
Yeah.
strategy, was I know when the weather is coming, so I will show up when the lightning storm blizzard fires begin.
Yeah.
Strategy. He didn't beat the bad guys, the weather beat them. But the weather would have showed up no matter what, because we established he wasn't controlling it, even though that's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Man, I think that was like one of the first things we really said, this makes no sense.
It's just total nonsense.
Like, is he summoning it? Is he able to predict it because he's changed? I don't know.
And it's, again, it feels like evidence that they're writing week to week, where you go, it makes the most sense for him to be controlling it. And they finish that episode and they ship it and they go, we can't have them have that power.
Look, this is another scene that, if you don't think about, is really cool.
It's really not.
No, if you're watching it, it's really beautifully animated. It looks good. It's
beautifully
dramatic.
animated.
There's great music. We have the return of Takuya. It's fun. It's exciting. It's great. But then if you think about it, it's kind of like, how did he get this power? Why does he never get this power again?
I'm sorry that thinking about it is such a fundamental part
Yeah.
of taking in media.
Yeah, but it's not how Frontier is meant to be consumed.
Okay.
But yeah, so my favourite character development was basically Takuya had character development despite it immediately contradicting what we already found out at the start of the season.
Imagine that you go to a restaurant, right, and you order some food, and they put it down, and you take a bite, and you go, "Oh my god, this is disgusting!" And they go, "You meant to eat it without tasting it. You're meant to taste it. What are you doing? That's not correct."
You're meant to do that holding nose thing that you do to not taste something.
Like, the whole point of this is that you're not meant to taste it. You're doing this wrong. Why are you consuming the thing I made for you wrong?
Yeah.
Stop tasting it.
I get your point. So now on to listener opinions. We're going to talk about the answers the listeners gave to us to what was the best and worst character. And we'll do these one by one. So first of all, Ryuichi says that Flowermon is so cute and the episode is good. And he likes the idea that the humans devolved to a child. Ryuichi then says that the worst character is Zoe. No character and did nothing.
We have one from Ludus Anubis who says that Izumi was the best Digimon girl ever.
On Twitter, we also have Anise Curtis, who says the best is Patamon, and the worst is a tie between Dynasmon and Katsuharu.
We got one from Garwudan on Tumblr who says that Pokemon is the best and the script was the worst. Or alternatively, it was Koji.
Also on Tumblr, we have Solonask, who says the best is Tomoki, maybe. Or Lord Nightmon. Worst is Naemon, since he didn't do anything meaningful.
No, Naemon, he's great!
Among the kids, Izumi was poorly treated.
Jay Ukyo on With the Will says the best was Tomoki overall and the worst was Izumi because it's a bad portrayal of female stereotypes.
And it is. We also have McGann on With the Will, who says the best character is Bokumon. He didn't change much through the series, but he was constantly entertaining and enjoyable. The worst was Lucimon, as he didn't really make an impression.
On With the Will we had Ijfidri.
I think it's Ifidri.
Ijfidri. There are two vowels in this, but it's three vowels. It's just rough. The best is Pokemon easily. As a kid, it would be Mercurymon, since he's the only interesting villain. The worst is hard. Dynasmon, despite being a primary antagonist. There was nothing about him that made him distinct, except his moon lasers. I wish that was a thing!
I wish that would have been the best thing in Frontier if that was actually a canon
He
thing.
hits them with the breath of Wyvern. They're already on the moon. Nothing happens.
Look, he never hits it again on the kids. He only
There's
hit
no
the kids
evidence
once.
that we're wrong.
There's no evidence that we're wrong, so I'm going to say that we're right, okay? Because it makes me sleep better at night.
Yeah, actually, I have a bit of discussion about that later.
Also on With the Will, Kunimon says the best character is Takuya, cool older brother who developed during the show. Kunimon said the worst was Arbamon because he felt underdeveloped compared to the other teammates.
We got on Riku on Patreon says the best is split between Pokemon and Naemon. They're basically one character. And the worst is everyone else.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. That's
Rough,
reasonable.
savage, brutal, savage, wrecked.
Great Tanuki on Tumblr says the best is Takuya, but maybe not because he's better written, because he's the most relatable out of all the Goggle kids. And the worst is Izumi. The way she's handled is really a letdown.
Sorry, he's more relatable than... Hold on, what's his name?
Takado?
Takado just loves Digimon. Everyone who likes Digimon should relate to Takado because you are him. For sure, you're Takado. If you had a Digimon tomorrow, you'd be like, Killmon!
Look, I always thought, man, I'm Ruki, but I'm like, no, I'm Takado.
Everyone who sits there and draws and designs Digimon, you're Takado. Everyone who likes Digimon, you're Takado. You watch the show and he does too.
Yeah, Takado's the best.
The only person who could relate to someone, as far as Goggle kids go, Alekmon on Tumblr says the worst is Koji's dad, the script, the babies who are mean to Tsunamon, and the best is Patamon. I wish people thought these characters I don't even think about. Just the evil kids.
Yeah, those babies were terrible, to be fair.
Oh, they got over it.
Then, by Soliloquia on Tumblr, says the best is Tomoki or Lord Nightmon, and the worst is Naemon, since he didn't do anything. Izumi was poorly treated too. Did I already read this one, or is that just very similar to another one we had?
I don't know. So on Twitter we got one from Hiro Alato, who says that obviously the best and worst character is the script.
Also on Twitter we have Homoneurotic, who says the worst is every human child. The least awful is Pokemon and Naemon. Best is a strong word.
That is true.
That's reasonable.
On With the Will, we're on from Cyan, who says that Junpei is the best. His execution is muddled, but it's nice to have an overweight hero. And the least is Koji.
See, I understand, it is good that we have a character who doesn't fit the same body type, because Takuya and Koji, if you just took all their clothes off and shaved their head, they would look the exact same.
I mean, I guess, but I can only give so many points for looking different. I need you to be a good character still.
Chuck On With The Will says that Tomoki is best. And it's the favourite Digidestin overall. He's more grown up than Takeru, but more realistic than Iori. And the worst is Koji's dad. Let's be real.
He's the worst Digidestined. Jason on Gmail says that Patamon is the best. And I'm really hoping you made that misspelling, so I'm not going to read it out.
Yeah, it's my misspellings. I summarize
Patamon is the best, yeah. And Junpei might be to worst. Damn it!
Look, no, it's 100. Look, okay, just pause in the podcast for a second. Like, I'm really sorry to everyone who ever sends us a letter, because I summarize them, but I also write quickly. I write very quickly and don't go back and fix spell mistakes. So I write the as tear a lot, and it just takes me back to 2005.
I'm bringing Smexy back.
Yeah.
And Junpei might be the worst because him not getting the hint about Izumi is annoying, and he never did.
No, he doesn't. It's at least in the original, it's not too bad. In the dub, he's worse.
Oh boy.
So Disaster Area 42 on Tumblr says that the best is Bokumon and Nemon, worst is Koichi, shoehorned in, became a character just in time to give up the spirits to Takuya and Koji, and is saved by the magic of friendship.
Exactly. Pico Dart on Tumblr says that the best character, if they're counting villains, they'd pick Ranamon. They always found her really cute and funny. Someone's in the Ranamon fan club, I see. If we're only counting the main 6, Koichi, since his and Koji's story arc was the most interesting, and also Duskmon was a really cool design. The worst character was Tomoki. They didn't really hate him or any other character, but he and Takuya are the least interesting to them, and they also feel like they like Takuya more, generally.
The next one is on Gmail. It's from Kylone, and I'd like to point out that this is very lucky because we got this email about 10 minutes before Jay got here for recording.
Woohoo!
So Kylone says that German Trubimon or Bokumon and Airmon are the best.
What's German Trubimon?
Trubimon in the German dub was a female.
Okay, fair enough.
And it was, yeah. They've said this a few times that I really like when we hear about the way that different dubs treated Digimon. It's interesting to me. And then Kylan says that Ranamon is the worst, as she's a symbol of everything that is wrong with Frontier.
See, I don't think there's anything wrong with her character as, like, someone who's really vain and really up themselves, because she's a bad guy. She's allowed to be that. The problem was when it's posed that, you know what, she shouldn't be, because this character's prettier than her. Like, it should be that's not where value comes from, right? No, what they said was, you're less valuable than our character, so you should stop thinking highly of yourself. That was all it was.
Now we're going to be talking about differences between the English and Japanese version, and just not all the differences, obviously, because we don't have enough time in the world for that.
Sorry, the segment is called Daring Differences.
Yes, because I told you I like alliteration.
I know.
Daring differences. And we'll just start off with our thoughts, same with the character discussion, and then we'll move on to listener thoughts. So first of all, the main difference straight off the bat for me was the soundtrack. The need to fill silences is always there, and even when they don't remove silences with dumb dialogue, they usually have like an off-camera character just saying something dumb, or they remove the clip altogether and fill it with something else later on, like more evolution time.
No, you're right. Their soundtrack was different. I remember hearing all these songs with Japanese lyrics in the Japanese, and there just was none of that in the English.
Though I
never talk about the soundtrack because it's obvious.
Look, I actually really like the soundtrack in the English dub. I find the evolution music is really funky, especially the Susanamon evolution music, which I think is one of the best tracks in all of Digimon.
Oh, if you want to hear funky, the last episode of Attack on Titan Season 2 has like the funkiest thing at like their big action breakdown. Oh, it's the best.
I'll watch it one day.
Oh, it's so good.
And what I also missed between the two versions was I missed Arbamon's little life hacks. What were your like main ones that you got?
Well, Lord Nightmon swapping voices.
Oh yeah, that
like,
too.
Their character distinctly changing as a result.
Yeah.
The emphasis the English put on Takuya and the Zoe romance in the English was a bit odd. The removal of Lord Nightmon's doubts in Lucimon, and Lucimon's like tone and like the clarity of his plans, where like in the Japanese it was a character thing. It's like, this is what I think, and I'm perfect, and as a result, this is how the world should be. And then in the English, it's like, I like to destroy things because I'm a bad guy who chews the scenery.
And he's scarily calm and scarily polite in the original. And when he's still talking to the Royal Knights after he's killed them, he's saying, see, we will get to go to the human world. It's manic, and that is what makes a scary villain. And he's not as scary in the dub because they just turn him up to 11 too much. Speaking of turning up to 11, I also want to say that another change that I noticed that was kind of annoying throughout the whole time was every episode's floor was just completely, like, it wasn't even turned up to 11. It was turned past 11.
This one goes past the 11.
Or it went to negative 11. I don't know. It went to bad.
Oh boy.
So we have Takuya not being as caring in the dub. Like, he's very caring and very sympathetic
I guess.
in the original. And then he's just sort of kind of brash. Like, he reminds me a lot of Daisuke in the dub. Then we have Koji, who hates people instead of just liking his own company. So he went from like, oh, I'm alone? That means I hate everyone too. I just kind of like being alone. And this was extremely evident in the first little bit of episodes that we had when we were first learning these characters. We have JP, who's even more so annoyingly obsessed with Zoe. Like, at least in the original, they have some moments where he's just speaking to her like a normal human being. But in the dub, it's always played up so much more. And Tommy cries so much more, and this is especially evident in the start of the show as well. After then, it's not changed too much. And then Zoe is even more of a
nobody.
A nobody, yeah. She's even more of just the girl character. As for the most changed episode overall, the one that really has always stuck in my mind as an episode I felt like they didn't need to change as much as they did, was Ladies and Gentlemen, the Beetlemon. We have this episode in the original where the Kukuomon are completely on Junpei's side. They understand how he feels. They're saying, well, we also feel useless and we also feel like we can't help because we're not very strong, because Junpei's having this anxiety about not being able to also fight as a Digimon because he hasn't got his spirit yet. And then instead of the Kukuomon being sympathetic of Junpei and being on his side, they made them in the dub weirdly in love with Takuya and they idolized him.
Oh, yeah.
And this was just a weird change because it was JP's episode.
I totally forgot.
This was a good episode in the original because JP made friends with the Kukuomon. And we didn't know anything about how he makes friends. Yeah, this was all like new ground for us. This was our first Junpei episode. And they changed it from, the Kukuomon saying, oh, yeah, we understand, and looking like the baby looked up to Junpei and gave him the glitter eyes. But in the dub, for memory, he's saying something like, man, I wish I could be more like Takuya, and they're idolizing him.
Saying it directly to Junpei.
Yeah, they're idolizing Takuya in the dub.
You wish you could be Takuya too?
And it just feels weird because it's making it more of a Takuya episode. And yes, we learn stuff about Takuya. Like, he's not impulsive and he's thoughtful and he makes plans and he is strategic.
You know what I just realised?
Yeah.
If Takuya had a brother, his twin brother, his name would be Takuya.
Oh no, don't do that to me.
Like how Koji's
I
in
get
the
it.
second one.
Do you remember any episodes that were most changed for you?
So I struggled because I don't know. It's hard to remember 50 episodes in your head and what changed. The one that sticks out to me is Phantasmagoric Sakakumon.
Yeah.
Mostly because that episode hinged around the idea that Mercurymon knew what he was doing and had a plan the whole time, and that was the reason he was choosing not to win, because he needed the story to play out the way he wanted it to in the Japanese. It's a play. It's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and here we are. Whereas in the English, it was just a fight.
No, it was a book.
No, in the English, it was nothing.
No, it was a book. He said, this is my book, chapter 1. But in the original, it was, this is act 1.
But I don't remember the...
Okay.
Okay.
it was a book in the dub.
I don't remember
Which
them
is still
doing that
different because his character is that he's a thespian.
It's a P, but I always thought that he only did like chapter 1. Maybe he did chapter 1, but they didn't do any other chapters.
No, he did the chapters. It was the same amount of chapters.
Oh, I don't remember that.
There might have been a bit more, like there might have been more chapters.
I don't remember that at all then. Okay, then I have no idea. I don't pay
that is
attention
fair.
to Frontier.
But no, that is fair. Well, and what about least changes? Because this was harder because
we talked about this at the time. It was the Make the World Go. Was it Make the World Go? No, that was worse. The least changes was the episode with Starter Village. We talked about it. We nothing changed.
Oh yeah, because nothing happened. Nothing. Mainly, I said that anything the Royal Knights arc, the majority of times, nothing much changed because there wasn't much to change.
Yeah.
The one that stuck in my mind is the Flame Terminal episode.
Okay.
I feel like they edit out some clips of the Gazimon and the Pyomon being hurt, but besides that, there's not that much that changes. Do you have any other notable changes that you remember?
Not really. I mean, I'm sure there were tons, but I can't remember any of them off the top of my head.
We'll move on to the next segment then.
Okay.
exciting episodes where we discuss the best, worst, and listener opinions on best, worst, and most changed. And basically any memorable episodes that we had. So I just want to say that for this season, all of these answers came very quickly to me, which is different because in previous seasons, I've had to actually open up and maybe even rewatch episodes, and I'd go through the episode list and just find what was a good episode, what was a bad episode, because it was hard. Like, these questions had previously been hard. This season, they were not. Like, I knew them straight away. I'm like, well, I know my favourite.
Yeah, pretty much. I knew my least favourite.
And my favourite was You Want Fries with that.
My favourite was Home Again, Takuya Returns.
Yeah, well, that's an easy one. Like,
it has the Doom Train, and I love him.
That's also one of the best ones.
Question.
Yeah?
What is the Doom Train? Never tells you.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you. I feel like they could have spent a bit of time, maybe in the Royal Knights arc, discussing the Doom Train. Maybe he's on the moon. Find him on the moon. I don't know.
We always have you have this. There's a false idea, right, in a 50-episode season where you go, oh, there were only 7 filler episodes. That means there was no time for you to tell any of these stories. No, you just combine a bunch of other episodes or skip them because they don't actually matter. You just put the events that happen in them elsewhere. There are shows that you feel like, oh my god, it's moving a mile a minute and so much stuff is happening, and never in Digimon.
Yeah.
In Digimon, precisely one thing happens in each episode, and that one thing can be small.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Like, they were making things not filler by putting things that are relevant in.
Look, an evolution happened. It's not filler now.
Yeah. So, another episode that always sticks in my mind as a good episode in Frontier is the one in the TV forest where Chuckmon goes crazy because of the Bakumon.
I guess.
I don't know why, but that episode, like, that was the episode I remembered the most when we were going to watch Frontier.
I forgot it happened at all.
I don't know why, I just remember really liking it. And then, of course, as for, like, the plot episodes, I really liked the Home Again Takuya Returns episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I also enjoyed the Tomoki evolving to Blizzamon episode. That was so fun.
I guess.
And it was so nice to have the focus on Tomoki.
He fought some birds for a camera, I guess.
Yeah, and it was just so cute because he played video games. And it was very, very cute. I liked it. However...
Yeah.
You know what I like more than any of these episodes?
What?
The movie.
Yeah, it was, I guess.
Which I didn't even remember that counted. Like, if that counted at all.
Oh, it doesn't.
Like, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, I wrote all my bests, but I didn't even list the movie. The movie was better than all of Frontier. Because it actually stuck by the lore and that story that we've been told so many times about the beasts and humans fighting, which we've never seen any evidence of. And you're right, the Trubimon part where he comes over with all the beasts who are on his side, we never see any of those beasts that are mad at the humans.
It's like key to the whole episode. And I think the problem with that is that once you start running into weird Digimon like Candlemon, you're like, what? Which side of the Civil War are they on?
Yeah, you're right, because there are some, like, Chakmon is a beast man Digimon.
Yeah.
What?
Also, like, you could have had it be like a virus vaccine Civil War, which means you could have had any designs and then just data was neutral.
Yeah, like, we already have exactly three of the things. So when we have Trumon, Serafimon, and Ophanimon, I believe that they're vaccine anyway, but you already have a position for 3 Holy Angels. Design different Digimon. One's virus, one's vaccine, one's data, I don't know.
Is there a Virusmon? How could there not be?
Yeah, it's an Atmon.
Oh, yeah! It's awesome, actually. It's an octopus with the gas mask.
However, the worst episode was Kazumon Kicks It.
Are you serious?
That was the worst episode.
Wait, which one is that?
The one where she evolves but then gets defeated?
Really? You think that's the worst episode?
Yes.
Not episode 46, To Make the World Go Away.
What happened in that one?
When Lucimon blasts the kids off the planet into the sky to land on a train? You don't think that was at all worse?
Was that episode... Oh, it was 46. Huh.
That episode sucked.
But it had, like, the Nefertimon in the library. That wasn't bad.
Yes, it was.
It had that part, which made me the maddest. But, no, Kazumon Kicks It made me much madder.
Mate, this got a -3 rating or something.
Yes, but I still like that episode. Kazumon Kicked It actively ruined a character. It set it up for this is how the show's going to go.
Sorry, hold on a second. You think that ruining one of the kids is worse than ruining the biggest bad guy of the season?
Well, because yes, you cannot think about that part. With Kazumon Kicks It,
Don't think about it.
there's no way to think about...
Just stop thinking about it.
But Jay, it was her evolution episode.
It doesn't matter if you don't think about it.
And she got defeated.
It's fine. The kids won.
What I'm saying, like, I'm saying that you have a reason for not liking that silly part of that episode. But the whole episode was okay in general. Like, I liked that episode.
I don't agree, but...
That's fine.
But I'm just saying, you know what? The kids won. It doesn't matter if Zoe's defeated, as long as you don't think about it, right? It doesn't mean anything if you don't think about
Yeah.
it. So if you just stop, it's great.
No, but I know that's why it's my opinion. You don't have to share it, Jay.
I know. It's fine.
And I don't think that is a good way of showing a character. Like, the evolution episode is where you're meant to make the character who's just shown up look as strong as possible. They're basically meant to be invincible in this episode.
Look, that's what you'd think, but if you stop thinking, it doesn't matter.
So, like, for example, in Koichi's evolution episode where he gets his purified spirits, he beats a hologram of Cherubimon who was not even being scratched by the other kids.
Sure.
It was making him so much stronger than he was. Then in Kazemon Kicks It, she kicks it, like literally, she kicks the bucket. She gets defeated by the Woodmon. Then Koji shows up as Lobomon, then saves her because she gets defeated and devolves. And it happened in both her evolution episodes where she wasn't actually able to defeat the Digimon she was fighting.
I could see how that'd be really annoying if you think about it. It's a good thing this show's not for that. I totally agree with you. It's awful. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just using this opportunity to have shots at that.
As for yours, well, I think that is a bad part of the episode. The whole episode in general, like there's a library and there's some nice character moments between each of the characters. That's nice.
I'm willing to take episode 47 where they're all getting pile driven on the moon. And then the moon explodes. That's also really bad.
And the kids don't die.
And the train doesn't show up at the beginning.
No, I'm sorry. That episode was good because there were baby Digimon and we got to see Lotmon,
That
Patamon,
doesn't make an
and
episode
Slotmon.
good.
Yeah.
If that episode had a unique opening song that was the best opening song ever in all of Digimon, it wouldn't make the episode
Though,
good.
to be fair, Kazemon Kicks It did give us flower snot.
Also, the fact that the babies were there made it even stupider because, like, the kids knew the world was destroyed and there was an emergency they had to go attend to, and they're like, haha, let's hang out with these babies instead.
What about the best arc? What arc did you enjoy best?
I can't say I enjoyed any of
Because
them.
I think I actually kind of like Duskmon's introduction to the Dark Continent, including the Takuya going home episode in that arc.
I would only have said the first, whatever the first arc is, where they're just exploring for the first time.
Yeah, no, that was
because I didn't
organized.
realize how bad it was yet, and that was blissful.
Like, for memory, the first episode did have a strong start.
I mean, it's arguable.
Compared to the rest, I mean. But still, if we're including the movie, I'm willing to say the movie was an arc. It was good.
I'll take the movie arc.
The
The movie arc that's not real.
Yeah, the movie that's not even... You can't even try to put this in the canon. You can't even say, oh yeah, they come back to the digital world at some point. No, because there are things that are not there. It's just...
Can't really say the Evil Warriors arc because, like, there's a lot of crap in there.
Well, that's why I said the Duskmon on the Dark Continent, because that was part of the Evil Warriors arc, but it had sort of good episodes, like with Takuya going home and Duskmon being terrifying.
Can I just say the Mercuriumon arc, which is like 3 episodes?
Yeah, no, but when they're all in Sakakumon, yeah.
Maybe.
I still can't say his English
Not
name
even sure that
properly.
one's even that good, but...
No, you're right. No, that was a good arc.
Yeah.
No, the Sephirothmon arc was good. Then they had their double spirit evolutions.
Oh, God.
No, it's fine. I'll let you say that.
So bad.
What about the worst arc?
Well, it's obviously the Royal Knights arc. It's so boring.
See,
it's unbelievably boring.
I think I liked this arc better when it was Arukenimon and Mummymon, and they were, instead of destroying the world, they were destroying Destiny Stones.
Well, because they had an active... Well, that was to destroy the world. But they had an active, like, goal, right?
The thing is, it follows the same formula. The kids show up in a place that they need to protect from the two bad guys. The two bad guys show up. The two bad guys fight the kids. The kids lose.
But...
In every episode, even if the kids look like they're winning, the two bad guys defeat the thing and destroy the thing anyway.
Okay, there's two things here. A, I think it only happened once where they, like, defeated the kids and it was, like, super over and then they should have just killed them and then left. That only happened once, and that was when Mummymon was introduced.
Yeah.
Every other time, the fight was, there's an object, we are protecting object, you are coming for object, right?
Yeah.
That is a direct goal. That's how soccer works. But when the object is the entire area,
Yeah.
you have to start making weird parts of the script over. Oh, why can't they just take it from that part over there that's a mile away behind tree cover?
So what do you prefer? The Royal Knights arc or
Obviously
Death
not
and
the
Stone?
Royal Knight arc. The Royal Knight arc sucks. And also, Momimon and Narutomon had characters
Yeah. Well, Lord
and
Nightmon
were
did have a character.
interesting.
Yeah. Also, BlackWarGreymon was in that. That's your favourite character ever.
He wasn't part of that.
Instead of BlackWarGreymon,
They
we had
made him
Trains.
later. They made him later.
No, he was part of that arc.
No, they made him later. He wasn't part of that arc. He was part of it was the end of that arc.
Yeah, because one of them I think was in the ocean, and then Iori stood in the way and said, "Don't destroy it." And BlackWarGreymon was like, "You're like that flower."
Oh my god, he's the worst! I hate him so much!
You're never over it.
I thought I was over it, but he reminded me of the flower.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this kid. I want to protect this kid like I wanted to protect the flower. Why
I
do I...
can't believe how bad 02 was.
And then he ends up squishing the flower? It's a metaphor.
Can we move on, please?
So let's move on to listener opinions. So as before, we will step through this just one by one. On Twitter, Clank Haranku says the best episode was episode 28, Darkness Before Dawn, which was Takuyu's fusion evolution, Aldermon's explosive attack. Worst was episode 31, Workin' on the Train Gang, or Sleep in Darkness, the Trailmon's Graveyard.
J. Ukyo with the Will says that the best may be the Village of Beginning, as the best showing of the Frontier's world building, which is usually cited as Frontier's best feature, but their personal favorite is the Burning Greymon intro episode because it shows Tomoki and Takuyu's relationship. The worst episode is everything in the Royal Knights arc, which includes the Village of Beginnings episode, Izumi Randomon episodes, and the Wacky Races filler. I actually thought Wacky Races filler was okay.
You know, I liked it. I liked it too. I liked episodes where we got to see the other Digimon just showing up. It was great. On With the Will, McGann says the best episode was Trailmon vs. Trailmon. It embraces the cartoony absurdity of the world, and it's fun to watch. Worst is Beastie Girl and Swiss Family Digimon, as it was frustrating. Ice Ice Baby had the most amount of changes because of Ice Devimon's voice.
Ifidri on With the Will says the best episode was 22, which is Flamon's episode. The animation was better than normal. Flamon has a nice design. And the worst is 45 or 46 because they're big, boring fights. But at least 45 had the other kids trying to help in an interesting way. The most changes was Ice Ice Baby.
Kunamon and With the Will said, the episodes from Wacky Races to Dark Continent were the best, as they had the strongest feeling of character personalities and everyone was equal. And I would agree with that. That's basically the best arc that I said. Worst episode was the first Royal Knights episode.
The first show up or the one after that?
The first one where they show up and send them to the moon.
Oh, yeah, that happened in that one episode, didn't it?
Yeah.
Riku on Patreon says the best is the Ice Devimon episode because of his voice in the dub, or Bizarre. The worst is the entire Royal Knights arc.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Great Tanuki on Tumblr says the best is the Bergamon episode because it's fun and entertaining, and I would 100% agree with you. You have nice taste. I like you.
Did you submit this one?
Worst is Beastie Girl, as it handles almost every other character badly.
And Cyan on With the Will says the best episode is 16, as Calmarimon is best girl. Alright, fair enough. To each their own tentacly weird thing.
Chakmon and With the Will said the best episode was too hard to pick, so here's a list of their favourites. The 5 Legendary Warriors versus the New Warrior, The Town Floating in the Sky, Toy Country of Toyagumon, Chakmon is the Enemy, The Mysterious TV Forest. I like this
Forgot
episode.
the Toyagumon episode happened.
That was cute, but I think you hated it at the
Because
time.
nothing happened in it.
Yeah. And Cool Beast Evolution Calmarimon, Save the Bergamon, Tomoki's Pure Heart, also good taste. My Home, Takuyu's Lonely Return, also good taste. Tomoki's Lonely Battle, Asuramon's Trap. And Chakmon says they actually like the Koji Karatenmon part of this. They also said they liked Soaring Warrior of Darkness, Valgamon, The Revealed Past, Dustmon's Secret, This is the Digital World, Escape from the Moon, and worst is episode 35, Turn the Spirits into One, Takura and Koji's Ultimate Evolution, and the most changed was episode 40, The Chosen Ones, The Children Who Manipulate Angemon, because the characters didn't seem to grow in the English version.
Jason on Gmail says the best is Trailmon Race. I really thought I was going to say Trailmon Graveyard. I'd begun to laugh. As it's a nice distraction and it's funny. Whew, the best episode is a distraction. That's an indictment. And the worst is the first trip to the moon because it's like the rest of the arc and it could be removed.
I like that episode.
It also makes less sense than anything else in the arc.
Oh yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all, but I like the episode. Disaster Area 42 on Tumblr says, best is probably some filler episode. Worst is Kazumon's intro episode because she was denied a chance to contribute from the start, and I would agree with you there.
Pico Dart on Tumblr says the best episode is Beastie Girl. Even though they know the podcast wasn't fond of it, they actually found it to be really funny. And the worst episode was The Man on the Moon Is You. Even though the theory of Wyvern Breath sending the people to the moon was one of the funniest running jokes in the podcast, on its own, this episode was one of the most boring and forgettable ones. And the fact that it's never canonically explained is pretty big writing problem. And I agree, it really should have been explained.
Then we had Kylon and Gmail, who said the best episode is 28 when Takuya defeats Mercurymon. It has the best structured episode, and the worst is Beastie Girl. So Beastie Girl got some votes either way.
I got one vote the other way.
The next segment is called Season Similarities, and I have to say the segment titles because otherwise Jay will point out my terrible alliteration, and almost like if I say it, I can make it sound like it's a fun idea. Yay, alliteration! Yay! Yay!
You're so excited about it.
So first of all, I just want to look up the poll that we had, which was what is worse, Frontier or 02?
Oh, come on, be a blowout. I want it to be 100% one way.
So we'll go through the comments first, and do you want to read them or should I? Well, we haven't really spoken fondly of 02, but we also haven't spoken too fondly of Frontier either. So first of all, Tom said the 02 had the Dark Ocean. Frontier had nothing. Glitchgoat said the Frontier was consistent and had an idea of where it was going, even if the idea wasn't that great. 02 had the problem with constant plot cul-de-sacs, and Frontier doesn't have 02's epilogue.
Riku says that in 02 is worse.
No, Riku says that 02 is the better of two evils.
Oh, because what's worse, 02 or Frontier? And if 02 is the answer, that means it's worse.
Oh, I don't know then.
I know, it's probably the way the structure of the full comment is that 02 is the better of two evils. That's fair enough. Jason says that Frontier is better, but they don't dislike either. Frontier has more consistent plot, except for the Royal Knights arc, and 02 is less consistent, and they're more willing to rewatch Frontier.
Chakmon says, of the two, 02 had a better storyline. Both Frontier and 02 had interesting settings, like the Giga House in 02, and Chakmon says they liked the kids from Frontier more overall, but it's hard to choose. But 02 had a more consistent story, Frontier's was horrible.
Wildbook64 says that for all their frustrations with 02, none of them will top the entirety of Frontier being a slow, boring, soulless, and, I get puns, train wreck.
Hi, I like that. Then the last comment was from 52 Bluey, who said that they thought 02 had interesting ideas. It had some ambition, but after the Kaiser arc, it just fell apart into so many different directions.
That's probably quite fair.
So this poll had 74 votes. 56 said Frontier, 18 said 02. So I guess Frontier is said to be worse.
Oh, I thought it was a percentage for a second. I was like, 56? Wow, that's really close. No, that was a blowout.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
not what I wanted.
People say that Frontier is worse, and I would agree that Frontier would be is worse because they're while we complain about 02 did do quite well with having the Adventure Kids being the characters. There was also the bits of 02 that were good were really good. And Frontier kind of had bits that were good, but they still had their problems in them. Every episode there was a little bit of a problem, something that we could argue about. And while 02 had more boring moments, episodes where I was bored, and Frontier didn't have that many boring episodes, at least 02 didn't have that many problems.
Well, look, here's how it comes down to me, right? If at the end of the season, they're on this weird alternate dimension where you can see the Earth in the sky, right?
Yeah.
And it's Belial Vandemon, whatever it is. Imagine, right? Because he's fighting all the Digimon and it's a whole thing. What if instead he turned to all the kids and slammed a giant fist down on them, and then you saw them all squish down into the ground, and then they all springed back up and landed on Earth?
Yeah.
That's what happened in Frontier. That'd be unforgivable anywhere else.
Yeah, no, I see your point.
You have to think of the exact thing in a different context, and you go, oh, wait, this doesn't work at all.
So you think Frontier's worse?
Frontier's way worse.
Yeah.
There's no question.
I mean, both seasons did have a lot of new ideas that they wanted to try. And they had lots of new ideas that they wanted to try.
Really, you think that Frontier had new ideas? I think it had old ideas.
Well, it had ideas.
Okay, lots of stuff has ideas.
So let's compare this to Tamers. And while I've always said that Tamers is pretty overrated in the fandom, I still think it's the best season of Digimon. It's the best season of Digimon we've completed so far.
Yeah.
Atmon might shape up to be better. Tri might shape up to be better. But at the moment, out of the complete ones, Tamers is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that even the not so great episodes of Tamers were still like better than some of the okay Frontier episodes.
I agree.
Like episodes in Tamers were kind of like this. People think this is the best season. I still think that those episodes can be placed quite high on the Frontier scale.
Well, do you know what the difference is? The difference is that Tamers is the only season of Digimon that I think you could easily say the intention behind this was that they expected the audience to think about what was happening. If it could be said that a piece of media is created and you have to sort of flick a switch, do you think about it or do you not? Tamers felt like it was trying to imply stuff. It was trying to make you think about things. It was trying to foreshadow stuff. Whereas Adventure was new and it was a whole like you have to just get the setting. But everything else feels like you were riding by the seat of your pants. Who cares? Especially this one. Also, I want to read it out the way you presented it to me and the way I've answered it.
Yeah?
Is it better than Tamers? Nope. Is it better than Adventure 02? Nope. Is it better than Try? I didn't even answer that one. Just nope. Better than that one? Nope. That's all it is. That's everything.
See, I wrote down like in-depth answers. So better than Adventure, and I'm just saying no, it's not better than Adventure, but Adventure was just okay. Like it Adventure sort of stayed at the same level throughout the season. It was just sort of like, this episode's okay. And then we did have some episodes that were just really great. And then the Dark Masters arc sort of made everything a lot better.
Well, Adventure set a bar for everyone else, right?
Yes.
And what was important about Adventure is that it did character development really well. Everyone developed.
Yes.
Significantly. And that's all that really matters, because that's what you'll take away from the story at the end of it. And I feel like most seasons have failed to do that. Tamers did great with Rika and no one else.
Yeah, Takada was kind of still a happy kid. Yeah, I love him.
He didn't need to change.
He didn't need to. Jan was kind of just, he was there.
So Tamers has a problem that is an interesting one in fiction, which is the main characters fine as they are, so they will not change because they don't need to. And it's a weird one, because like on one hand you're like, yeah, I wanna see this character be happy. On the other hand, you're like, they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, Takada is still just a happy dude, and he loves Digimon. That doesn't stop. He still loves Digimon.
Taquitos.
Ruki has a whole like fantastic arc about her family and having friends, and it didn't go from her character didn't change dramatically. Like, she still looks kind of like she likes her own company, but she's like grown to warm to these people. But it doesn't mean she's not warmed to all people.
No, she's not still going to kick his butt.
She's still not going to make friends with strangers
or with salad.
She's going
Don't make friends with salad.
She's going to hang out with these new friends that she made because she saved the world with them. Is it better than Try? I would also say no. I mean, to be fair, I'm attached to the characters in Try because I've seen them for 17 years. I like these characters now. I've grown up with them. These characters have been beside me since I was a little kid. Now I'm older, and so are they. And so I have like this relationship with them that I know them, and they've grown up too, and that's great. Then with Atmon, and I just want to say something. The fandom's reaction, and I'm not sure if you knew this, Jay.
I didn't.
But the fandom's reaction to Frontier, when it was first announced and first starting to be spoken about and you started to find things out about Frontier, was the exact same to when Atmon was announced.
What, this is really stupid?
Yes, this is stupid. This is killing Digimon. This will be the worst season of Digimon. This isn't Digimon. Oh, they've run out of ideas. What are they doing? We just want Tamers Season 2.
To be fair, Tamers Season 2 would have been better.
Yes, but I just found that interesting that people are having the exact same reactions, and people didn't watch Frontier because they thought of this. People aren't watching Atmon for the same reason.
I think Atmon will catch up, though. I think the difference is, I mean, everyone's seen Frontier now anyway, right?
Some people haven't. Some people just skipped Frontier because they thought it sounded dumb, and I'm worried that people are going to skip Atmon because it looks different. Yes, it looks different. It's good.
But the difference is that word of mouth works for positive things. right? If you have an idea that, oh, I don't think this will be any good. Oh, whatever. It wasn't any good, so you didn't see it.
Yes.
If you think, oh, this won't be very good, and then someone goes, no, it's really good.
But when I'm on Reddit, I'm constantly seeing like people saying, "Oh, Atmon's bad," and then when someone asks them, "Oh, so how much have you seen?" Like, "Oh no, I haven't. It's just like it's a bad premise. It's got to be bad, right?" And there's people asking, "Hey, is Atmon good?" And people just saying no without a reason. They're just saying no.
I think that it will build up steam over the years. I don't think it'll be necessarily popular immediately, but I think that it is a show of quality, and eventually people will realize that. Once people who have watched it, like us, will discuss it as we do.
Yeah.
Our listeners, some of whom will watch it, some of whom won't. That's up to them.
But please, if you're listening to this, give Atmon just a chance. Just watch a little bit of it. It deserves people watching it. It is shaping up to be better than Tamers. The character is very similar to Ducato, the main character, Haru.
As the Beatles once said, give Atmon a chance.
Didn't Bono say that?
Probably. But I'm not giving Bono any credit.
But what I'm saying is just please try and watch Atmon. Don't not watch it because it's got a bad premise. Something can have a bad premise but be great.
Let's be honest, Digimon has a bad premise, and Atmon just clarifies it.
I think Atmon is so much better than the premise. It does well with the premise. I also thought it was going to be bad, but I gave it a chance. Jay gave it a chance because I forced him.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, he didn't have a choice.
But I don't regret it, and that should say a lot. Because I regret most of the things I watch on this show.
You regret Frontier.
Oh boy!
Do you regret Tamers?
Mostly.
Do you regret V-Tamer?
No.
What about Adventure?
Mostly.
02?
Yes.
Try.
No.
Lane.
Not yet.
What else have we covered? I think that's about it. The board game that we covered on our channel.
Yes! Absolutely!
Digimon World 4.
Instant regret.
A war game.
Probably.
It's the best movie. Our war game is still my favourite Digimon movie. Maybe not if you include Try.
Or Summer War.
Summer Wars is not a...
Yeah, it's great. It's got a bunny. I love it.
The next segment is called Compare the Characters, where we're going to be comparing characters to how they were in other seasons. Like how the Golgo Kids were, how the Nerd is, how the Lone Wolf is. And we'll be comparing our favourites and what aspects of those characters that we like. So first up, we have the Golgo Kid, which is Takuya. And the main thing I noticed is that Takuya is the most strategic and probably the least impulsive out of all the Golgo Kids, except for in the Takuya Goes Home arc, when all of a sudden he's very impulsive. It's weird, but from the start he is strategic and he's planning out the attack on the factory. And I really like that. And we've never actually seen this happen in any of the other Golgo Kids, of them being thoughtful. Even the sweeter ones like Takuya and Haru, they're still not strategic. They're not into that kind of thing.
I mean, Tai is after halfway through Adventure.
Yeah, but Takuya is, like, in the first 10 episodes, he's strategic.
Yeah, but then they reverse it, so it doesn't count.
That's why I think it's weird, but I'm counting it as the character that they initially showed us.
Also, again, his strategy is controlling the weather.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the strategy when they're attacking the factory.
But that was his I'm strategic now.
But at the start of the season, compared to all the other Golgo Kids, Takuya seems mature and rather intelligent. He's thoughtful and he wants to look out for Tomoki because he's a little kid and he sees a bit of his brother in him and he wants to protect him and he likes that about him.
They definitely don't squander that at all.
Then for the Lone Wolf, we have Koji, and I kind of like him. He reminds me a bit of Ruki, how he's definitely just a lone wolf. He just likes his own company. He doesn't really want to hang out with the kids, but like he kind of like begrudgingly tags along because he has to. And then he becomes friends with them later on, but sort of like, I don't know, it's not really like a kidnapping or anything. He just sort of comes along with them eventually, and so does Ruki. And I like how both Ruki and Koji don't really mind being alone, but they're not aggressive about it. They're like, oh, I only want to be alone. What do you think?
So, as far as the Golgo Kid goes, as we take a step back, so I can have my say about that one as well.
Okay, I thought you'd falling asleep.
No, I'm just waiting. I would say that, honestly, I think Takuya is most comparable to Davis. But he's a bit better than Davis.
Oh, he's better than Davis, yeah.
It's something, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I like Chikado and Taichi. They're interesting people, and I think Takuya is such a nobody. In fact, I think most of these characters are nobodies, because they're really defined by one thing, and that's all they are.
Yeah.
As the Lone Wolf character goes, like, if you're comparing Koji to Matt, obviously Matt's better, but Zero Two, I don't think... Does Zero Two have a
They
Lone
have
Wolf?
Ken. He's a little bit of a
No,
Lone Wolf.
he's the sixth character.
And then
he's already in a slot.
And then we have Takaru.
He also doesn't count.
Yeah.
because he's like a returning one from before. He
Yeah.
knows you need to be in a team. It's the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, they do have that bit where they're fighting and Matt and Taichi just say, yeah, just let them fight. They'll hit each other and then they'll get over it.
And since Rika is obviously the best of all of these, that means that by definition, Koji has to be the worst.
Yeah. Wait, even worse than Matt? You hated Matt.
I know, but Matt's better because he's he's a more interesting character.
Look at that. You like Matt now.
Even though he betrayed all his friends.
For no reason.
He got over it. As the nerd goes, I guess that's Junpei in this case.
Yeah, Junpei's the nerdy one.
I left myself a joke. He's a Junpei in the ass.
Oh, that's funny.
But look, Izzy was reasonably charming and he's interesting. And Cody had the decency to just be boring as hell.
Yeah.
So that makes Junpei... And Junpei, since he's actively painful most of the time, he's obviously the worst.
See, I liked how we got the character whose body type was a little bit different. I know we had Koshiro in the first season who was much, much shorter than the other characters. He was almost as short as the child, like the 8-year-old child. And I thought that was interesting. And we had Joe who was really tall because he was older than everyone else. But Junpei was overweight. And I can't remember any other overweight characters ever being in Digimon.
Despite that, and I can say this because I'm large, but like... The fact that he's big doesn't make him a good character.
Yeah.
It makes that... what that is that what he looks like does what looks do. It makes you go, all right, I'm going to pay attention because I'm interested in what he's like. And then when you learn, you go, oh, he's actually not great. And he's crap, in fact.
Speaking of Junpei, I kind of wish that his engineering knowledge and how good he is as it was actually addressed more. It was kind of addressed once. And I feel like he made blueprints and he made plans. That shows a smart kid. Why are we not showing this kid have this intelligence? Why are we only showing this once?
So the good version of this would have been an ending like 02 where you show what everyone's future would be and he became an engineer.
Yes.
That would have made a lot of sense. What it actually was, which became very obvious the longer you went through the season, was, we need them to invent something or build something that kids should not be able to build.
Like a boat.
Like a boat. Let's just have Junpei say he knows how.
But then the annoying thing is when they go to build the catapult, Tomoki's in charge of building the catapult. I'm fine with him driving the catapult because we've seen that he's good at games. That's fine.
No, we see he's good at snowballs.
But why is he all of a sudden building the catapult as well? Like he's telling the other kids what to do.
He learned it in Minecraft.
And, I mean, we saw Junpei moving around the Akiba market to scatter the data pieces. And that was fine too, but I feel like it could have been really established more as a character point to make him a bit more interesting as a character.
And then, as a result, when you look in hindsight, you go, oh, that was a tool to make the plot move. That was not a character point.
Yes, and that is sad, but I wish it was more than just that's a plot point. So, for the girl character... I would have to say that Zumi is the worst girl character. But, I mean, she does get some points because we show quite early on that she's rather diplomatic and she speaks to the Digimon instead of just immediately going to, let's fight. She'll try to talk to them about how can we help each other. And she's kind of like charismatic in that way that she's like, hey, how about we work something out between us? And she doesn't immediately go to punching them. And that's fine. That's great. That's a character thing. It's abandoned halfway through, but it's a character thing, and it's great. That's great.
I don't remember that at all.
And in a way, it kind of reminds me of when Mimi built an army, and she did that because she was diplomatic as well. And both Azumi and Mimi are very girly. Like, they're feminine, and that's their thing, right?
I guess.
So I really want Mimi and Azumi to have like a universe where they're friends. I just want them to be best friends and they go shopping together or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't even describe Zoe as girly. I would describe her as the girl.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Like, Mimi actively like, I like shopping and I like these things that are stereotypical. Zoe was like, I like pasta and being alone. But because that girl's talking about how pretty she is, I also have to talk about being pretty.
Yeah. Does Juri count as the girl in Tamers? Because Ruki's not like she's not the girl character. Like
she is though.
When I say the girl, I mean she's the girly character. So I would say
maybe
Juri in Tamers.
No, it's the one girl on the it's the girls on the main team.
Ruki is the lone wolf.
I know. In this case, she has to be both because that is a small team.
Initially, yes.
Yeah, so Zoe's really one-dimensional, obviously.
Yeah,
and
that's sad.
Since Rika's great, Mimi and Sora are great, You really just make a comparison here between Yoli and Zoe for like the lowest.
Yeah, but
And
Miyako had good points. Like she was a computer programmer, and we had that episode where she saves them by knowing her way around a giant computer.
I did say that like Yoli is generally a bland mess. She's got stuff, but she's a bland mess mostly. But she still wins by, I say here 1%. It's more than 1%.
Yeah.
It's probably like 10. I love how you have a category called the other guy, which is the guy that shows up halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Or the eighth child. So that is Ken and Kari. And then
He's the most
on
like
the other
Ken,
side,
though.
it's Kenta and Kazu.
Yeah, but who cares?
Or Ryo.
Ryo doesn't count.
So Koichi's like in the middle because he's better than Kenta, Kazu, and Ryo, but he's way worse than Ken and Kari.
Yeah.
And Juri, I guess.
I think he counts the most as being like Ken because he's the evil dude who shows up, becomes good, and now he's this sweet, shy, polite, lovely little boy.
But I would disagree because whereas Ken is evil, this individual person that you would talk to day as a human being, he is evil. Koichi wasn't evil. Koichi may as well. It may as well have been that Duskmon was an evil Digimon and Koichi was trapped in a cage in his chest.
Yeah, or he was possessed or something and being mind controlled because that was essentially what was happening.
Koichi himself was never evil.
Yes.
Especially because we never saw... Koichi never had an angry face of, "Ooh, I'm angry at you,"
yes.
Right? It was always, oh my god, my brother. Like, he was trapped in there.
Yeah.
Also, he's a ghost. Was that... No, it couldn't have been why his face was coming out of the thing, even if he was a ghost, because Koji's did too.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I
was about
almost
to say,
explained it.
Oh, that would have been good. No, never mind. Koji's did the thing too. And then we have the little kid. And Tomoki's actually fine. Like, he wasn't not realistic or anything. He was very realistic. He was cute, but he wasn't stupid. And he wasn't annoying or thick like Susie was in Tamers. But
Oh my god, she was awful.
I think she's also a little bit younger, but not too much. I think
But
Tomoki's
TK was
fine.
great.
Yeah, Tomoki and TK are both realistic 8-year-olds. Yes, guess what? They cry if they fall over, but so do I, and I'm 24. So now for total thorough thoughts.
Oh my god, you could have just... Oh, that's really lame.
That's great.
You could have just gone with total thoughts.
And we'll talk about our total thorough thoughts for Frontier. So first of all, how did the ending compare to other seasons of Digimon? Because I think it's an okay ending, but I do have a problem with Azumi changing from being an introvert to basically a social queen. I feel like it's basically teaching you, hey kids, do you not really like hanging out with people and kind of want to be by yourself? There's something wrong with you. And that's a problem. Like, you should be showing kids that, hey, it's okay to not want to be with people all the time. It's nice to have friends, and that's fine. Like, they can make it more about she wants to have friends but doesn't know how, but they didn't really make it seem like that. They made it seem like there was something that was hideously wrong with her for being an introvert, and that's terrible.
I literally described in my notes as just, this is the worst ending on all counts, and that was it.
And as I think we went through this I think it was Postmon Pat, where I said that I don't like Tomoki's ending being in, like, he's friends with his bullies because it's basically the equivalent of saying, hey, women, don't go out at night, don't wear dresses, because otherwise you'll get attacked. If you get attacked, it's your own fault.
Yeah, the fact that you have been bullied and attacked is based on your attitude.
Yeah.
It's your fault. If you acted differently, your bullies wouldn't act like this.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Yeah, it's saying, hey kid, are you being bullied? Well, it's your own fault, do something about it. Not, hey bullies, maybe don't bully. Like, it's you're not teaching the men not to attack women, and you're not teaching the bullies not to bully small children. And as I said this in Frontier, in the Postmon Pat for Frontier as well, but if they established that the bullies had changed, or the bullies, like, maybe were given an excuse for their behaviour, like, an excuse for their actions, like, maybe they were bullied at home, maybe they had a terrible home life, maybe they were bullied when they were shorter in kindergarten or something.
Adequately covered.
That would be better, because we're actually given a reason to why they're a bully, and then Tomoki works with them with it, and they become friends, and that's fine. And you could have done that, and Jay suggested this in Postmon Pat, is if we had given them the other spirits, the other legendary spirits. We had water, steel, wood, and earth. We had those ones. Exactly the same amount. Perfect. But no, we didn't.
No. Don't get to.
No characters for you. And now he's friends with... But he's not friends with the guy who had Davis's voice and the girl who had Yoli's voice. He's friends with specifically the two who were bullying him.
Yep.
Can we have any explanation for that happening? I would accept that if they gave it a good reason. But as it stands, it's just like, yes, he's strong now. He showed that he could become a giant bear. Now they'd want to be his friend. It's great.
You could argue that he did save one of their lives.
Yes.
So it might be based on that.
One of them tried to strangle him, okay?
It's true.
The only one who showed any, growth was Katsuharu. Teppei's still evil.
And also, just the fact that they aren't going to bully him anymore doesn't mean that he should be friends with them.
Yeah.
Okay, we learned our lesson. He's like, good, now go away. That should have been fine.
Make friends with the girl. Make friends with the Davis guy who looks like Takato. Make friends with the kid that you saw getting bullied. I don't know. Just make friends. It doesn't have to be...
Well, he wasn't going to the real world, so he couldn't have done that.
I don't know. So, I think that Frontier probably has the worst ending out of all the Digimon seasons, but it is happier than the Tamers ending, because the Tamers ending did make me feel depressed, but I still think the Tamers ending was better.
It was,
it made me feel depressed until we saw the portal possibly being opened. It made me sad.
Okay, you can't complain about the Hollywood ending stuff and then be like, oh, but it made me feel emotions.
Yeah, I know.
But they were bad emotions?
No, I'm just saying it is good, but I just didn't like how it made me feel depressed, but it was good.
It's just such a weird, an ending should make you feel stuff. It shouldn't necessarily make you feel happy.
Yeah.
The idea that... It's Berserk, the anime, is really depressing. Yeah, or there's lots of obviously tragedies in movies and stuff. The idea that something made you feel bad and thus it is bad is such a weird, weak way of looking at media.
Yeah.
The fact that something made you feel emotions is important. That's why boredom is the worst thing a show can make you feel.
Yeah. And then, we had 02 who also had the epilogue ending, but that was also an ending to Adventure.
That's a great ending, though.
And then, Takeru being the narrator is probably my favourite thing from the epilogue. Oh, by the way, guys, remember that voice we heard all the time in the first season? It was Takeru the whole time.
Surprise.
No, that's great. What about the worst and best thing out of Frontier? Because I'm sure you have a lot to say.
Do you
want me to do my best first so you can get to your worst?
No, look, I'll say, right?
Do you have any best?
I actually do.
Oh, wow. Surprise.
I'll read out what I've got here. So anything that could be described as the best would come down to, I guess, small moments. My keenest interest is the Doom Train, but it's such a brief and unexplained piece of weirdness that's never discussed again. And I'm going to say it again. You know what world building is? Introducing the Doom Train, which is a unique train, and then saying what the Doom Train is.
Yeah.
That's world building because it's something special. Not, it's just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
It's a weird psychic train that either sent him back in time to the real world as a Digimon he has never won again, or it gives him illusions. Both of those are interesting. Why is it never explained? Because it doesn't matter. Because the script has no meaning.
Yeah.
Let's go get drunk after work. We're Digimon writers. We're not here to make a story that's interesting. We're here to put pictures on a screen for 8-year-olds.
Yeah. Do you have any other best bits?
No, not that I can...
Not even Bokumon and Airmon?
I guess.
Because they're my best. I love them. So I really like their relationship.
Go Beowulf on.
They're so funny, and they had the funniest moments. And yeah, it's the how do you know his name's Beowulfmon? Silence, 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 silence. Music has stopped. Go Beowulfmon. It's great. That was funny. That was actually a funny moment. Well done. You made me actually laugh. That's great. Do that again, please. As for other things that I thought were the best, world building entirely in theory is really good.
What does that mean, world building in theory?
Until you start thinking about it.
Okay, so it's like you've asked someone to build you a house,
yeah,
and the house you're imagining is really nice, and then you show up and they haven't built it. But I imagined a great house, so the house must be good.
Okay, to be fair, I liked that we found out where the other kids went. That was something you were asking from the start of the season. You said, where did the other kids go? We found it out. That's great.
That's not special. That's really basic.
And
you can't...
I know, it was great. I don't know. I liked the fact that we found out where the kids were.
I ordered spaghetti bolognese and I was surprised to find there was pasta in it. And I said, congratulations, chef, you put pasta in it. Good work.
Yeah, we got the meatballs,
it was in a bowl. That's amazing. You even provided a fork. That's crazy.
As for the worst things in Frontier,
Such good meal building.
I think that the treatment of other characters that aren't Koji Takuya are not good. Like, especially Izumi, because we get Koichi, who we get in his evolution episode. He's so strong. He's so much stronger than any of the other characters. And he stands up to this clone of Trubimon, which the kids can't. And he's strong. And he's basically on the same level, if not stronger than him. And then he just becomes really weak, and we see him like a couple more times, and he gets eaten.
Well,
basically.
He does win that fight for them against the Phantomons.
Yes, but that was still his. He still got the buff of his evolution just occurred.
And then they just take his spirits away forever.
Yeah.
And they become weaker. God, power levels are so weird in the season.
Yes.
It's like impossible to determine.
Yes.
Does he ever become a beast spirit when he's back to normal?
He slide evolves. I think he slide evolves. No, I don't think he actually.
When he's human, I don't think he ever does.
No, he does. Yeah, I think we see his beast spirit once or twice, and then he just goes to his human spirit, or he gives his spirits to Takura and Koji.
He's the strongest one.
I'm just thinking about in every other season, we have still had the other characters be strong against the bad guys that they're fighting and still join in on the fights. These characters felt like they were a burden if they showed up in any fights. Like, as soon as I'm not even talking about the fusion evolutions, when we were a double spirit evolution, they kind of just were there, and then they'd basically get defeated really easily.
And there's obviously an argument to be made about, like, other Digimon seasons, and okay, well, there are kids standing off to the side in those ones as well, but there's never a situation where the number of Digimon defending those kids is so much less than there are kids.
Yeah.
Like, well, if you're fighting the adventure kids, you're fighting 8 Digimon. You're probably busy.
Yeah.
Right? If you're fighting... if you're fighting these kids generally, there's less Digimon around. There's never a situation where, except that one time with Vandemon that I complained about a lot, right?
Yeah.
But there's very rarely situations where there's one Digimon defending 8 children, because in those circumstances, the kids would be an absolute liability, and they are.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
If only the kids had died in this one, that would have been nice.
Do you have any things you want to say of the best of worst things? Because I think you...
Worst for sure. I just didn't think we were there yet.
Oh yeah, you ready? Let's go to your worst.
So the worst thing is, as I've said a million times, it's just the mind-bending and soul-crushing apathy the writers had, who just didn't care at all to build or pay off any tension in ways that made any sort of sense at all. They actively chose to just sort of push the kids into deadly situations and then just shrug and get them out of there without explaining anything. So with unexplainable magic that they don't even try to address. It's a generous act on, I think, the part of you and I, May, that we even say it was magic, because that's more effort than the writers put in to explain why they got to the goddamn moon.
Though sometimes we just say, oh yeah, it was because of the script. Though sometimes we just we squint our eyes and say, I mean, I guess it could be magic. Okay,
so here's how a story works. Something happens. Oh, I understand. That happened because of this. And then later in the story, another thing happens, and you go, okay, this happened, because in this character's story it's like this, and this character's personality is like this. For us, every time, and I mean literally every time, we have to say, oh, I guess it was because of the script. That is a direct problem with the series.
And that's us giving up. That's us giving up, saying we can't defend this. We can't even fathom what actually happened.
And if you, as someone who likes the show, cannot come up with a reason why something would have happened, having watched it more than once, having an interest in Digimon, having a much broader knowledge than anyone generally would watching the show about Digimon. I'd say you're in the top 10% of people who know stuff about Digimon.
I think there are people who know much more than I do.
Yeah, the 9% above you, but then you're in the top 10.
I still wouldn't say that, but go on.
Okay, fine. It's a number. If we cannot come up with a reason why something works this way, what hope did the writers have of coming up with something?
I still think the Breath of Wyvern theory that we came up with is the best thing that's ever come out of the show, and maybe possibly the best thing that's ever come out of the Digimon fandom in its entirety.
I think I agree with you.
Because I'm sorry, it's great. It actively fixes some episodes, and it's not proven wrong.
I kept waiting for them to hit somebody with it, and then be like, there it is.
Never happened again.
Can I actually, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it now, because I found something that I thought was really funny, and then it made sense it didn't make sense for a second, but it was funny, and then it was stupid, and then it was funny again. So when I was going through the to figure out like which episode I was best and worst. I've forgotten all their names and I forgot
Yeah.
what was in them. So I went to the Digimon Wiki. Not Digimon Wiki. I was in the Wikipedia for Frontier.
Yeah.
And the episode list. And the summaries explain what happened with Breath of Wyvern.
Oh.
It says, Dynasmon launches his Breath of Wyvern attack, which is so powerful it blows the group to the moon. So, the description is that it hits them so hard, they go to the moon. Okay?
Yeah.
Except in the next episode, description says, Dynasmon's attack creates a warp that pushes the group to the digital world's blue moon. The synopsis of the episodes don't know what happened.
So this is probably a fan entry. It's not like an actual synopsis of what happened. So there's just people saying, yeah, that probably happened.
But the sentences on each side of the episode, like, it's literally, if you're reading down, it's the next sentence, are directly contradictory about what happened. Mm-hmm. Because it's so unexplainable. Mm-hmm. I will also, hold on, what's the other one I have here? Here we go, yeah. Sorry, Lucimon reveals that he plans to create a new digital world of his own and blows everyone away with his blast of energy. They are saved by an Alliteration who takes them to the Yellow Moon. That's the whole explanation.
Yeah, that's to be fair, that's what happens.
He blows them away. You know, it's fun. And
that doesn't sound menacing or violent at all.
What that doesn't convey is that they had no protection at all and were just children at the time. But even so, just, he blows them away, don't worry about it. Oh, and they were just saved by by a Trailmon. It's not like it has to be on a track or anything.
No, I see your point.
Oh, the show is really bad.
So we'll move on to listener opinions for best and worst thing about Frontier. So first up, we have Ryuichi, who says that he's not sure that what the best thing is because of his own personal feelings, but the best thing seems to be is what the interesting ideas are that they have, and even if they don't really get explored on or if they're done poorly, but they're okay ideas. And then other than that, it has decent filler. The worst thing is that it becomes the Takuya and Koji show, and Ryuichi says that he hated it as a kid and he hates it now. Clancom with the Will says that the best thing is Pheromon fan service and world building, the ancient Digimon backstory or the last element song, and the worst is the pacing, Tomoki's crying, and Izumi.
J. Ukyo on Twitter says that the best is Spirit Evolution as a concept, as it removes the kids being liabilities as in previous seasons, and it lessened the number of characters that need to be fleshed out. The worst thing is Spirit evolving in practice, as there's lots of wasted potential.
McGarn on With the Will says, best thing is wacky cartoon nonsense. It is the best when the kids are just exploring the world and meeting characters. Worst thing is that the story structure and there's a lack thereof.
Iphidri on With the Will says, the worst thing is the story structure. What do all the bad seasons of Digimon have in common? Poorly defined story structure. The English opening is the best thing because it gets the viewer pumped up.
And it does. It pumps, and it's meant to. Kunamon on With the Will says the best is the character environment design, and it has a varied range from heroic looking to cool, to edgy, to elegant, to mechanical, to strange. And the worst is the imbalance focuses on the characters.
Riku on Patreon says that the best is the ability to become Digimon. The worst is the ability to become Digimon.
On Tumblr we have Goemon probably approves, and they said the best is JP and Tommy, and the worst is everything in the last arc.
Ouchmaster 6000 on Tumblr says that the best is the Evil Warriors and the worst is 2/3 of the cast being useless in the last arc.
Louis on Facebook says the best is Bergamon and the worst is House Spirits in the just don't really establish the consistent power system, and the kids get hit with 2 moon destroying blasts and are fine, and Koichi's power level changes, and Ice Devimon is so much stronger than the kids, but he's an adult level Digimon.
Oh yeah. Homo Neurotic on Twitter says the best is Padawan's presence and the other Celestials, and the worst is the kids' lack of partners and characters.
Cyan on With the Will says the concept of lore and the ideas present had potential, but the worst thing is the boring characters.
Chuckmon on Wish the Will says the best is the music, animation, and creative backgrounds in the world. The worst is the writing and poor pacing.
Jason on Gmail says the best thing is the lore and the lore influenced plot. The worst is a tie between how terrible the villains are and everything after Cherubimon's defeat.
Disaster Area 42 on Tumblr says the best thing is the ancient warriors have cool designs, and Pokemon and Namon are fun. The worst is that every episode felt like filler. Characters don't advance as characters unless the script calls for it, and nothing happens until the last episode.
Great Tanuki on Tumblr says the best thing about Frontier is the general theming of the show. Spirit evolution and the existence of legendary warriors in history are a neat idea, and the music in both versions reflect the feeling really well. The worst thing, however, is the way that the series fails to have any plot lines or characters that have arcs that is actually consistent and thorough.
Throughout.
Yep.
And Kylo on Gmail says that the best is the Digimon having characters and meaningful relationships with other Digimon, and the worst is that there's bad treatment of female characters.
And yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, female character. And Kylone did watch the German dub, which had at least Cherubimon being a female, so it had that at least. And I guess the English dub had Crusadamon being a female. But at the end, there wasn't that much. So now we will continue talking about our overall thoughts. And basically, what was your rating for Frontier, Jay, out of 10?
3?
See, I gave it a 5 because it's better than Air. And no episodes were really super boring.
Disagree.
And I feel like if we're speaking about the other seasons, 02 is a 6 out of 10, Adventure is a 7 out of 10, and Tamers is maybe like an 8 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10. What about what we would have changed? Do you have any things you would have changed?
Yeah, I would have given them Digimon partners. Like, you can make them fuse and stuff, that's fine. But the kids are just really boring. You stop making the bad guys win. I don't mean, like, bad guys winning is fine, and obviously people think that's a good thing. But have them stop winning so completely that the show should end.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Like, the kids should die. Like, I don't want them to die, obviously, because they're the main characters, but depending on the fights that they're in, the kids should not be there anymore. The kids should be dead, right?
And most importantly, they set up the Civil War. Have it be important to the story.
Yeah.
That is the most interesting thing about the show, and they just stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Every time the kids are around.
Well, I've already sort of mentioned what I would do about the characters' developments and the epilogue, so I won't say that again because I'm not a broken record. But I do have an idea, and I think I've mentioned this before, that I would have really liked if we had tag-along Digimon throughout the season, and we sort of pick them up maybe starting early on, and they sort of tag along, but they're not Digimon partners. They're different from that because they're not genetically forced to love the kid. They're not like they don't have this relationship with the kid that is genetic. It is completely different from that, and I would have really liked that aspect of the show to explore that. And maybe each of the Digimon that we meet, we sort of have different sort of maybe contrasting relationships like Joe and Gomon, and maybe relationships that are similar, like how we have Koji and Gotsumon who are rather similar. Like, partner them up, that's great. Maybe Ranamon comes along as a Digimon partner and we have her tag along. Like, those relationships we can still have, not necessarily as Digimon partners, but more like Bokumon and Namon, who are friends who tag along. And, I don't know, I maybe shorten down the Evil Spirits arc to add this part in. And also, like, I found the Cherubimon arc went for too long. Like, I felt like, it's episode 40-something, and, it's still fighting Cherubimon.
Well, it's because he wasn't really introduced as the bad guy until about halfway through the Evil Warriors. Like, you knew about him from episode 1.
Yeah.
Or 2. But he was never present, really. Like, imagine if with Devimon, like, you just never even heard of him for the first 20 episodes.
Yeah, I see your point.
Not that he wasn't around. No, you'd even heard of him. You just never saw him, and it was never relevant, and you never felt like he was doing anything. And did you notice that, like, the threat changed? Because, again, I don't think they knew what the ending was going to be. Because it doesn't make any sense to think that Cherubimon was the one collecting all this data when we know that individual Digimon were hoarding it.
Yeah.
For the first 20 episodes.
No, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Why did the Candlemon have that bridge?
Yeah, no, I think it's because they were introducing an aspect of the show, but maybe it made them stronger. Maybe they wanted to be stronger and they were corrupted by this. Maybe they were like Skull Satamon and working for Cherubimon or working for Lucemon. It's probably the former, that they just wanted to be stronger, but it's never actually said. Like, it wasn't established. And this is another thing I would have changed. I wanted them
This is great world building, by the way.
I wanted them to explain what Digimon wanted. Like, did they want to be strong? Like, in Tamers, the Digimon wanted to go to the human world because that was how to get strong.
Wasn't it they wanted? It wasn't evolution like the important thing?
Yes, and they were going to go to the human world and they were going to get strong and they were going to evolve. In Frontier, you could get to the human world quite easily and basically destroy the world, but like you could get there. There was a train that went there.
But also, if you were the Royal Knights, you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Some reason.
I don't know, it feels like they should have explained more about what the human world means, because Lord Nightmon and Dynasmon clearly know about the real world. How do they know this?
I can't stand the fact that they never explain why the trains weren't part of the bits that got eaten up.
Yep, they never do.
The train not only were the train tracks immune, the train stations were immune. And there's no reason for it, except the world wouldn't work without them.
Yes.
If you took away the train tracks, the kids couldn't get around.
Yes.
That's not an excuse. That's not a reason for them to not be there.
Like, this point I'm not even going to argue because you're 100% correct, and I can't.
And I'm sure I said this earlier, but where is the terminal that the kids come from?
It's past Flame Terminal. It's Human Terminal.
Yeah, but it's in space.
It's Space Terminal.
Sorry, it's behind space.
Behind Space Terminal.
So yeah, I guess the other thing I'd improve is make stuff make sense. Try hard. Obviously, make a Breath of Wyvern go to the moon and have like a bit where it's funny.
See, your things you change are things that make the show function more. I'm just thinking of things to be fun.
How dare I?
Like, I would have really liked if the purified spirits went to Tomoki's bullies. I think that would have been neat.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I would have also liked if everything was the same, except one of the Chosen was a girl as well. Maybe Takuya, maybe Koji. Everything is the same, except that character's now another girl. And it'd be great. Because it'd be a nice contrast between Azumi and maybe like Girl Koji. I think Girl Koji would be cool. What about screenshots of the series? Because mine is just easily every face Dynasmon has ever made in the history of the show.
I just wanted to be that train in the sky with no tracks
Oh
on
my
either
God.
side.
My entire the most
Because of
like
what it
rage.
means.
Yeah, the most rage I've ever had was when I posted on your Facebook wall saying Digimon is the worst anime ever, and with that screenshot.
That said, the image I always have in my mind is the exact image of Lucimon with the finger pointed and the big pink arrow coming out and it hitting the kids.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. That's the moment. And that's the moment you go, this is the worst show and it's irredeemable.
Yeah. So now I want to talk briefly on filler, because I remember when we first started speaking about Frontier, I said, yeah, I think about 5% of the show's filler, or at least I thought that, and I didn't say it because I was trying to like make you guess whether or not it was going to be a lot of filler or a small amount of filler. So I guess I was right. There's only a very small amount of filler.
How many episodes would you say are filler?
Well, I'll just count them. So in the first arc, which is the Human Spirits arc, there's episode 7, episode 8, and episode 9. Mm-hmm. So that's Island of Misfit Boys, Odd One Out, and Welcome to My Nightmare.
Okay.
In the second arc, which is the Beast Spirits arc, there are 2, episode 18, Trailmon versus Trailmon, and 19, You Want Fries With That.
Okay.
In the third arc, there are none.
Okay.
In the fourth arc, which is the Cherubimon is there, and they're fighting Cherubimon, and Koichi's there too, which I only have one, and it's episode 31.
Okay.
Which is Working on the Train Gang.
Mm-hmm.
Then arc 5, which is the Royal Knights arc, I only wrote down one because it's really hard to actually class any of this as filler, because throughout the whole arc, they are absorbing data, and we are getting important moments in every episode.
I wouldn't call them important, but okay.
Important if you care.
Well, I don't.
Yes. So yeah, I only had one. I had the Man in the Moon Is You.
Do you know how bad you are at percentages?
That's still 5%. It's 5% of 50.
No, it's 7 episodes out of 50.
That roughly.
You know what percentages are? It means 2% per episode. That's 14%.
Yeah, that's still lower than 20. I think I said between
You got
5
it
and
wrong
20.
by 2/3.
Okay, but it's still a low amount.
Yeah, it's 14, not 5. 5 would be 2 episodes, or more or less.
It's still a very small amount of episodes.
I would disagree. I think the Schrodinger's filler means that you take the entire arc and you take one episode, and that's the canon episode, and everything else is filler.
No, I think the episodes
because none of those other ones mean anything, because you're getting the same information out of all of them. It would be like, it's like how there's in Haruhi season 2, the Endless 88 is like the same episode played 8 times. If you took 7 of them away, it's the same. Because you get no new information. So I would say there's probably 5 additional ones in there, putting it to 12, meaning that it's probably more about 25%, about a quarter filler. Which honestly is still kind of low for anime.
Yeah, that is low. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the double spirit evolutions for Izumi, Tomoki, Koichi, and Junpei.
It's called Extra Evolution.
The extra evolutions, yes. And after that, we'll go through all the ancient spirits and the legendary ancient warriors that we never saw. So first of all, we have Jet Sylphimon.
Bam. Whoop. That looks dumb.
She has wind turbines on her breasts.
Oh my god.
That's the main part I want you to take away from this.
Oh my god, it's that joke picture from like 3 days ago where it was like it's a meme, it's like when you see her nipple piercings and it's their fidget spinners.
Oh my gosh.
And you can see them through the shirt. It's this. That's her.
Jet Sylphimon just has fidget spinners on her. All right.
And
Thank
she
you.
has an aeroplane on her head. Which idiot designed this?
And now she has a pinwheel as a
This
weapon.
Huge. This pinwheel that is as big as she is.
Look, I should really like her design as a kid, okay?
Ooh, it's so bad.
Are you done with Jet Sylphimon?
We're on to Rhino Kabuterimon.
Yep, so the next one's Rhino Kabuterimon.
Please just be like the Rhino. Oh, that's a busy, weird design.
I kind of like him. He looks kind of cool.
He doesn't have a face. Have you noticed?
Oh no, he does not have a face. A face is something he does not have.
Oh, okay. We got Daipenmon, which is a big penguin, I assume. In fact, we've probably seen this one before,
I
haven't
think we might have.
We have. It's the robot that flies by flapping the lollipops.
Yeah.
I love it. Also, I think we established that's not the Digimon. The Digimon is the thing that's piloting it.
Maybe.
I remember that. And we have Raihimon. Or Rahimon? Or Rahimon?
I actually do kind of like, it does look like a cross between Loemon
look at
and the other one that we don't see much, the Beast Spirit one.
Yeah. Well, no, it looks like a cross between Loemon and like Argunimon.
Oh, yeah, no, I see that too.
That's a nice looking one, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's got the wings on him, so yeah, it should be a mix between that.
No, it is probably the best one.
Now we have the Ancient Warriors. We have Ancient Greymon and Ancient Gurumo, who we have seen, so I'm not going to bother pressing on.
Yeah, we saw them in the movie, so we don't have to worry about them.
Ancient Megathurumon. What does this thing look like? Is it dumb? It's not dumb. It looks like Ikakumon if he was the deer from Mononoke.
Yeah, no, I get that. That I completely agree.
We have Ancient Irismon, everyone's favorite Digimon.
I love her.
Mostly
Shut up.
yours.
I love her.
And
Shut
that
up.
one person whose name is no, that's your name.
Yeah, that's my Twitter.
Okay, that's a nice. You know what that looks like? That looks like a magic card. No, it looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah, no, it does. I really like Ancient Irismon. Like, she's like rainbowy and
Gay
it's really
icon.
Cool. Yeah,
Ancient
I love her.
Irismon.
I love her.
All right, Ancient Beetlemon. I'm getting already sick of this whole like ancient thing in the name. But that's it. I'm sick of Mon in the name. So who am I to say? Ancient Beetlemon looks better than the other. In fact, it looks like the next evolution of the other.
Yeah, it does.
Rhinomon.
They do look very similar.
He has like the weird like nurse cross on his hands for some reason. Also, he's a minotaur, but the bottom half of him is Kuwagamon.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Ancient Volcamon, who presumably should be a giant football player because Volcamon was.
Yeah.
He looks like a meteor. He looks a big BDSM meteor.
Yeah, I kind of like him because he does look like Volcamon, which we did see in this series.
And
no one ever said, yeah, that's kind of like Ancient Volcamon. We didn't get the names of any of them except for Ancient Garurumon and Ancient Greymon in the movie.
Yeah, Ancient Mermaidmon looks great.
Yeah.
Looks great. I like the weird elbow cleavage. I have never, ever seen that before.
Well, Hikari has it in 02.
No, she doesn't. She has gloves.
Yeah.
That's different.
Okay,
Those are gloves that stop at a point, and then you have arms, and then you have a shirt. This is a long sleeve shirt with a cutout where the inner elbow is, so it becomes elbow cleavage. This is you. Are you not looking at it at the same time?
No, I'm looking at it. Yeah. Look. No, I'm looking at it. Okay, no, yeah, I know. I see what you mean.
It's real unique.
Yeah.
We have Ancient Troyamon, who I don't know what a Troya is.
Troja, like a Trojan?
Oh, it's a big Trojan horse with a big cannon face. Does it not understand what the Trojan horse actually was? Because it was not a war machine.
Well, this one is apparently.
Imagine if the Trojan horse had a big catapult strapped to it, and the Greeks were like, seems legit. We have Ancient Wisetmon, or Wisetmon, or Wise Timon. I think it's Ancient Wise Timon. Looks like Ancient Wise Timon and Ancient Wise Tapumba.
Yeah.
This is Telemon. That's just Telemon.
Is it?
I don't know. It looks like it. It's a mirror. It's a big mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, if that's what Mercuriumon was meant to turn into, that looks great.
Yeah. No. Well, it's not what Mercuriumon was meant to become. This is what Mercuriumon was based from. These are the ancient spirits.
Some of them are fair, but some of them are really stupid. Ancient Sphinxmon looks really sad. Looks real sad. But otherwise it is a fine... it's a bit of a weird dorky design. I think it would get refined if they ever finished it. But yeah. Who was Ancient
the best?
Volkmon? Who was this?
I like Ancient Irismon. Ancient Irismon's my favourite.
Was this Earth?
Which one?
Oh, if Ancient Volkmon is meant to be Earth,
Yeah, it was.
then Gigasmon? That doesn't really look right.
I like Ancient Irismon the best.
Yeah, I know you do. And I'm just going to look at Ancient Greymon briefly. I forgot he was on 4 legs. What a weirdo. Well, fair enough. Okay, so what was the question you asked?
Well, who was the best fusion evolution, and also who was the best ancient legendary warrior?
Well, obviously it's Jet Sylphimon with their weird fidget spinner nipples. Obviously. Who else did we... Oh, I just realized they don't show the double spirits for the bad guys.
No, I believe there aren't any designs for them.
Oh, very, very sad. What was... Oh, Dipenmon for sure.
Yeah, Dipenmon's
for sure.
Dipenmon's the best fusion one that we didn't see, and Ancient
It's a
Irismon.
cyborg.
Ancient Irismon is the best legendary warrior.
I am Cyborg Penguin.
And now on to Save Us Savers. Jay, before we do anything, I just want to congratulate you. You're done with Frontier.
This is the best day that I've ever had, but also it's the worst because I did this to myself, so I'm not really sure how to feel, okay? Yep. Okay, we've established.
So, on to Savers. What predictions do you have of Savers?
Okay, so I had to dig a bit deep on this one, right? So Digimon Savers, presumably they save Digimon. So I'm aware of one thing. A Digimon gets punched in the face, and the guy who does the punching is older. What, they're 20 or something?
I don't know. Don't ask me the questions. It's your predictions.
You've told me this sort of thing before anyway. So I know they're a bit older and they do this punching. But they do saving. So I feel like you're looking at... I don't know. They got to save them somehow. And the other name's Data Squad, right?
Yep.
So if they're saving them, I don't know. There's some... And they're a squad. I felt like there was some kind of organized saving going on. So I have it written down there Digimon firefighters almost.
Yeah, that's a funny one. I never heard that. That's interesting.
The alternative is that almost like in Tri, how there's that government organization that's based around Digimon, that there is some kind of official thing in this one. There's a Power Rangers season where they're space cops.
Right.
That's the Power Rangers season, and I get the sense maybe that this is going in that direction.
And now I'm going to show you the poster, and I want to know if any of your thoughts changed. So just take this and look at the poster, and I want to tell the audience what you see. I'm just showing him the Savers poster.
There's 3 people and 5 Digimon. 6 Digimon, of which I guess there are 3 Digimon and 3 evolutions. So spoilers. And gotta be honest with you, there's nothing here that tells you anything about the show except that they have Digivices and partners. And obviously, Agumon has wrist straps and giant nostrils. But gotta be honest with you, I couldn't tell you anything about the plot from this because they're just yeah!
But what do you think about the characters, how they look?
Main character looks like a cheap anime that couldn't figure out character design. The Matt character looks like Matt without spiky hair. And the other one looks like a girl from an anime that couldn't figure out character design. The humans look like they're from a budget anime.
What about the Digimon?
Then here's the thing, right? Agumon and Greymon look fine. The blue ones look fine. And the pink version of the plant one looks like a Pokemon. I swear that's a Pokemon.
Lalamon does look like a Pokemon.
So there's an exact Pokemon of that thing.
There is. It's called Cherim.
That's the one. Yeah. It's this exactly. And the evolution, I think, also looks like a Pokemon. But, specifically, looks like a fake, made-up Digimon by a fan.
I'm not a big fan of that evolution.
It looks fake. It doesn't look real.
And next, I'm going
Also, the Digivice looks like crap.
I'm going to show you the Digivice, which I have in...
I've seen it before.
I know, because they fell out of my pocket before.
They are crap.
So I have a blue one and I have an orange one. What do you think they're going to be called?
The D-Savers?
No.
Okay.
They are called the IC in the original.
Yeah.
And the Data Link in the English version.
I would have also gone with D-Tracers for some reason.
Also, did you notice the Digivices become more and more looking like phones as the series continues?
Is that what that's meant to look like?
I think so. Because the detectors looked a bit like phones, and then, I don't know, they look a lot like phones, to me, anyway. I think they look like phones, a little bit.
I don't really feel that way. But what's important about them is they look garbage. And they're weird, square, and blocky. It would be like... You know what's weird? You look at the 02D3s and you go, that's an Xbox 360. And you look at the original and you go, that's an Xbox original. You look at that thing and you go, that's an Atari.
Okay. Nice.
Why did they take such a huge step back with this one?
Now I am going to show you a commercial for Digimon Data Squad.
Two worlds will collide. They'll attack for power. They'll defend for freedom. DNA, charge!
That sounded crap.
Only one can win.
He punches a Miramon?
Digimon Data Squad.
He burned himself.
Here's next month, right here on...
Oh god, it's Davis! I hate this!
Why is it Davis?
That's the voice.
Is it?
Next month on Digimon Data Squad. Listen to the end.
Oh,
It's Davis for sure.
I didn't make that connection.
Listen to it.
I'm not going to watch that again. So,
Okay,
do you have
fine.
any more thoughts about?
So it primarily takes place in the real world.
Did you notice how they didn't actually show the female character at all in that? Basically,
I don't remember seeing the Matt character either.
that they showed Gawamon, who is the blue one,
Yeah.
and
Well, they showed evolutions.
and the main character,
And
yeah.
the evolutions of them standing perfectly still, staring forward. Pretty much, because they're 3D anime, basically T-posing. It was one step off them T-posing. Like, it's real bad.
Okay, now I'm going to show you apparently an ad for Uber.
Why?
Well, now no, I'm not going to show you an ad for Uber. That's just what's playing. Now I'm going to show you the English opening. Here is my phone.
Oh my god, how much are we seeing? Why don't you just show me the first
Because
episode?
it gets you excited. It gets you excited.
Oh, excited strong.
Hold it to the microphone a bit. Your face.
I saw a police car! Was I right?
Just continue.
Wait, what was that guy? Wait, no, go back. Who's the dude in the branch with the owl? Who is that?
It's
He's
almost
on
like
the poster?
it's almost like you have to watch the thing.
It's a lot of tentacles. That's Lilymon. That was awful.
Okay.
That was not nearly as good as Frontiers.
So do you have any other thoughts about the now you've seen the English
I
opening?
can't believe I got it.
Maybe you haven't.
The Digimon firefighters and or police.
But so what do you think of the opening besides it's not as good as
That's what I think.
Okay. And now one more video. We're almost there. I'm going to
this.
show you the Japanese opening, which is great because it's called Going Going My Soul. Well, that's very loud. Jeez. There we go.
I saw their Digiboss. Oh, they're just showing you all the evolutions. All of them.
Let's go. Let's go. You are jiggling along with the music.
It's not bad.
They have great music. It's such a
Greymon's
show name.
angry. Angry
grumpy.
reacts only. I quickly want to look at there's a section where they like jump behind some rubble. Okay, what was that? What was that?
I love that part.
Oh, I think I might like the Matt in this one. He just has like a composure to him, which was cool. He's like, just sit down, he's like, yeah, I'm here now. It's not like I'm here now. It's just like a professional, this is what I did. Also, there's a bunch of extra characters at the end. Who are these nerds? What's this big turtle?
Oh,
They have cow orcas?
that's Kamemon. Is it
They have cow orcas.
cow orcas?
Well, it's spelled co-worker, but it's
Oh,
pronounced cow orca.
Yeah.
Yeah, they orc the cows.
Yeah, my favorite characters in Savers are the lesbians.
I don't. Okay. Sure. Are you sure they're not cousins?
I've never seen the English version, but
I bet they're never gonna mention it.
they sure are very close. It's great. How do you feel about Savers?
Well, it's gonna be different. And that's
shonen.
That's enough right now.
It is so shonen.
You know what? That could be good.
Everyone always says, man, that sure was the shonen anime.
Well, I like shonen stuff. I really do.
Because Masaru is just kind of like, I'm just going to go punch some Digimon. I'm going to now tell you the title for the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
So the first episode's called I Am Masaru, Cockatriemon Strikes.
Okay.
Or in the English version, it's There Are Monsters Among Us.
Okay.
The second episode is called Burn, Digisoul of Anger, the Flymon Hidden in Darkness.
What?
In the dub, it's called Marcus's Inner Strength.
Uh-huh.
I hate his dub name, by the way, just so you
Marcus.
know.
Is it the main character?
Yep, his name's Masaru in the...
Oh, well, fine.
And
What else are they going to call him?
It's the, again, the ma part is the kanji that started with Taichi and Daisuke.
How?
It makes ma. It's also ma.
So it's Maichi
No,
and Maisuke.
Look, it's really
So
hard.
it's
Okay?
Mata and Ta. Mm-hmm. How?
I'm pretty sure it's the same
It's a
kanji.
weird language.
Yep. Also, when in the Digimon Tri first
And
PV,
Makuya.
where we saw Maki, people said it like the people who didn't say it was Ken thought it was Masaru, as in from Savers.
Okay.
He's universe hopping. So, do you have any hopes or predictions about Savers? Do you think you'll
I
like
hope
it?
it'll be good.
He punches Digimon.
I mean, I'm on board with that, but he also has a Digimon partner.
Agumon
could be good.
Agumon calls him, which is basically like the equivalent of like what they called Yakuza bosses.
Oh, cool.
I'm really looking forward to Savers. I think you'll like it.
Oh, we'll get there. I don't have any hope though. Do you know that I'm at the bottom of an abyss right now and there is no light?
Well, you can have a bit of light if you punched a Digimon now and then.
I don't know. Can't see them.
Punch a Digimon.
There's
Just
no
punch one. It's great.
Well, let's go find your collection and punch stuff.
So, do you have any feelings about Yoshino, who's the girl? Kind of like reddy pink hair.
I have no opinions whatsoever.
Besides her Pokemon. Her
She
Digimon's
definitely
Pokemon.
dresses in pink though.
Yeah, because she's a girl.
And she sure has a Whismer. Not Whismer.
Cherim.
Cherim.
Yeah.
She sure has one. Join us for the next movie of Sayuki Reload Blast.
Cool.
X Evolution.
And there is no English title because there's no English version. It's just, we're watching it. We're watching it once.
I can tell you from my memory, there's a good reason there's no English version of it.
Yeah, because this is when the dub is kind of like, yeah, we don't have to do more Digimon in the West. It's fine. For Weekly Wonders this week, I'm just gonna... I didn't really have a Weekly Wonder. I didn't really do much this week besides work and organize stuff for the podcast. I'm just gonna say Sky High is my Weekly Wonder. I really like that as a movie.
Really? You can think of anything?
It's on Netflix. It's a really good movie. It's about it's like My Hero Academia, but it's like 10 years prior, and like that's really good. There's a guinea pig in it. It's really great. Watch it. It's a movie. It's really great. If you haven't already, why have you not watched this fantastic movie? It's groundbreaking. I saw this when I was like 13 and loved it. It was great.
Okay.
It was great, okay? Just watch it.
You saw it like last year and loved it.
Yes, we saw it like 2 years ago. I think it was before the podcast, maybe more.
It's hard to say.
I don't know. We've been together for a long time.
Back when we had free time.
It's a good movie, and I think everyone should watch this movie. I'm not even kidding, because it's a movie that does not look good. It is a good movie. It is a good movie.
It's a movie with a weirdly unique premise that they've never really done, which is a superhero high school.
It's really good. It's really great. Watch it. It's on Netflix. It's good. Do it. Do it now. After this episode, obviously. Okay, Jay, what about yours?
Mine is Gakko Gurashi, or School Live. It's a really adorable kind of like a slice of life school club anime, except that a zombie apocalypse is happening at the same time, and that doesn't sound necessarily amazing, but it's done really, really well, and it's very self-aware. Basically, they're part of the school living club, and they live in the school, because if they don't, well, there's lots of zombies outside. So there's this really interesting interplay between all the cute stuff that's happening in the school and everyone's acting like it's normal, and then it'll cut outside and he goes, but you know this is happening. And you're like, any moment that you're having a really nice fun, everyone's having a good time, you're always sort of on edge, like something really bad could happen at any time. And I guess I should say, some really bad stuff happens. It's really cute. I would really recommend it.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch it, but you told me a thing. I'm just like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, but you should anyway. You know what, mate? You should watch the first episode. The first episode is valuable unto itself and like as an experience.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
So link dump's linked in the description, and this week's weekly poll is, did you enjoy Frontier? And you know what? I actually did enjoy Frontier. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. I enjoyed watching it, and I enjoyed covering it.
I hated it.
It's okay.
It
You're allowed
was
to.
detrimental to my life.
Woof. Woof. And we're also going to have another weekly poll, which was, will Jay enjoy the first 2 episodes of Savers?
I want to give that speech that happens in like, what's that movie? It's not Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, that movie. That knows it.
No, it's the Adam Sandler movie where he's like a old dude in high school. He has to go through school all over again.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm sure people would figure it out. And there's a bit where like there's a debate thing when he's going through year 11 or 12, and he stands up and he gives a whole like big long speech, and it montages through it as though he's doing it well. And at the end, the judge goes, "That was the single worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. In fact, everyone in the room is now stupider for having heard it."
Oh, that's nice.
And I want to give that speech a bit about Frontier. It's so bad.
So the will Jay enjoy the first 2 episodes of Savers poll will be open until we record episode 113. So you have 2 weeks, because that's our first Savers episode. You can find our screenshots of the week and our weekly wonders in the link dump and in the description. And our Redbubble is also linked in the description, and you can get more than just shirts there. You can get like pillows and stuff. It's cool. You can get a mug. Have some mug with our stuff on it. It's great. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit. And we'd really appreciate if you would review us on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening service that you use. And we'd really appreciate it. And it also bumps us up, and that's important because I want people to listen to us. I think people should listen to this because we put a lot of effort in, and that's great. We have a website, and that's where you can vote on our weekly poll, because we link it to our Poll Daddy, which is also a WordPress thing as well. You can donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to our listener Slack chat group, but there are also higher levels with more things like rewards and early episodes, notes, information, Skype calls with May and Jay, play games with us, stuff like that. It's fun.
And thank you to our current Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon, Stevie, who is also Stevie Padmon on Tumblr and is currently taking commissions, Wu Qinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamemon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the number 1 on YouTube, Penguin Mage, Chuckmon, Ishpal Bumba, Hiro Alato, who is at Hiro Alato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Magic on Archive of Our Own, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Ren and Garen from the Versus podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Corey, Kyle, Delady Bugman, whose anime blog you can read at baguburagu.wordpress.com, Small Wolfie, who is on Topastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic called Eden and Melancholy, Tom, Glitchgoat, Azra McCool, Nicholas, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who is Anto Classic on Twitter, and Lizmet.
You can also make a one-off donation on our PayPal, which you found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon. Make sure to let us know